morning, everybody. It's the Mike Missanelli Show. It's a football Friday. We got a lot of action planned here because we got to talk about this game. This is a game that Bill has kind of won me over on, that the Giants will make this a game. And I shudder to think that the Eagles could be in trouble of losing this game. Now, I don't think they will lose the game. But when I look at the line, I'm going, this is probably going to be a nail-biter that's decided by a field goal. And the Giants, with 3 points, may actually even cover in this game. Now, I don't know what that will do to the fan base. I don't know. It probably will say, you know what, this team's not that good. I can't get invested in this team. If they can't beat the Giants by a significant amount of points, then what do we have here? So, I mean, this is a very important game in that respect to get the fan base back, to get the national people back. Everybody is down on the Eagles right now. They're giving them a less than 50% chance to actually make the playoffs. They cite all these terrible numbers with the Eagles, even though they have a winning record right now. And here they come against a bad football team that has a decent defense. But do the Giants have a decent defense? Because, you know, I was looking at last week's game against the Cincinnati Bengals, and their numbers come out not very well. They are 26th in highest rating. They're 30th in completion percentage. They have given up 113 point whatever rating to the opposition. I understand that they're the number one sack team in the NFL. I get that. I can't like the Giants have 26 sacks. They're a top 5 in quarterback hits. That's the one strength they do have. Well, now you're talking about a quarterback who last week had a 57.5 rating in Daniel Jones. He's going to get Neighbors back. But I mean, I look at this and go, I can't believe that I'm even trying to process whether the Giants can beat the Eagles in this game. So the gang's here. Bill Colarulo's here. And Ray Dunn is here. And Bill is high on the Giants, and he indicated yesterday, you know what, this is going to be a closer game than everybody thinks. So, Bill, tell us why.
I'm being a little misquoted here, especially on the morning show. I'm not high on the Giants. The Giants' offense is terrible. The Giants' offense still has Daniel Jones as the starting quarterback, and they lost their left tackle for the season, most likely. So the Giants' offense is not a good offense. But their defense has been pretty good. Not only do they lead the NFL in sacks, they're top 6 in red zone efficiency. They don't give up a lot of touchdowns in the red zone. They're top 10 in points against. And you look at all of their games this year. Yeah, they're 2-4, but they haven't let any team really dominate them on the scoreboard. They only held the Bengals to 17 points, the Seahawks to 20, the Cowboys to 20, the Cleveland Browns to 15. The high and mighty Washington Commanders, and everybody's on the bandwagon now. They beat the Giants 21-18, Mike. So what I'm telling people is don't expect this Eagles offense to come out and dominate on the road against an NFC East opponent, a division rival that has a good defense. And, let's add into the fact you don't have Jordan Mailata. You don't have Dallas Goedert. I do think the Eagles win this game because I don't think the Giants have a good enough offense to score enough points. I just think it's going to be close. And if this is the game where people are hoping we see the offense firing on all cylinders, I have news for you. It's not going to be that game. And if it is, I will be extremely impressed because that would mean Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley put the team on their back. But there's a lot of reasons to believe it will be a low-scoring, ugly game, very similar to the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, it's really funny that you have this impression that the Giants, you were lauding their defense. The numbers wouldn't indicate that. In addition to that, they're giving up almost 5 yards per carry to running backs this year. And so most of the numbers for the Giants defense aren't really good except for the sack total. So and the quarterback hits. They give up a lot of offense to teams, even though last week they held Joe Burrow a little bit. He had an 89.6 rating, only had 208 yards. But they're 30th in the league in completion percentage against, and they're the 26th in the league, the highest rating against. Like I'm trying to figure out. I understand that we're not like really high on the Eagles' offense right now, but where is this Giants defense supposed to be so prohibitive?
Because
you're looking at points, but I'm
looking at yards.
I'm looking at numbers.
But they only give up 314 yards a game. That's good enough for top 10. okay? They only give up 198 passing yards a game. That's top 12. So some of the numbers that you're citing, completion percentage, they are not letting teams in the end zone. They're not letting teams get explosive plays against them. Yeah, they're giving up 5.2 yards a carry on the ground. That's where maybe the Eagles' offense can really take advantage. But I would have to believe that the Giants are going into this game saying, we're not going to let Saquon Barkley beat us. There's no way, after you let Saquon walk out the door the way they did and sign with your division rival, that they're not going to be loading the box trying to take away the running game. And if they can take that away, they haven't been bad in other categories. Top 11 in third down, top 6 in red zone. You mentioned number 1 in sacks. This team's defense can get after it. And when you don't have Jordan Mailata, and Cam Jurgens has been a little bit up and down this year, he's going against maybe the best defensive tackle in the NFL in Dexter Lawrence. The guy's got 7 sacks. He may lead the league in sacks as a D tackle. No other interior defensive lineman has more than 4. Lawrence has 7. So I get it. They're the Giants. They're the Giants. They are not the Giants of the past. They have a very strong defense. And you could give me numbers to say otherwise. Look at the final scores of games, man. I mean, you held the Washington Commanders' high-powered offense that everybody loves to 21 points. You held Cincinnati last week to 17 points. I mean, it's not a defense that's given up a lot of points. So fans who want to see the Eagles drop a 40-burger on a division rival on the road at MetLife Stadium, I just don't see that happening.
Wow. Bill is very cautious about this game. This is scaring me. The thought that the Eagles could possibly lose to the Giants up there, coming off what we've seen in the first mediocre 5 games, where they really haven't been impressive, even though they have a winning record, is a scary thing. And I'm wondering about this fan base. When the Eagles lose their fan base, if they go up there and lose to the Giants,
it would be bad.
They could. So let me just add this, because I want to throw this in early. We're going to play this a lot during the day. Dan Orlovsky, who's now like Mr. Football Guru, just ask him. He's like all over the place with his views, and so he called the Eagles, oh my God, the least prepared in all of football. The team's the least prepared in all of football. That is a complete indictment on Bill's man, Nick Sirianni, because he's the guy who's prepared. He's not, apparently. So, Ray, can we hear what Dan Orlovsky said about the Philadelphia Eagles?
This is the least prepared football team in the NFL. The least prepared. They've had 5 opening drives this season. They got 22 yards. So you mean to tell me an offense that has Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert and one of the best offensive line in football and Saquon Barkley, they got 22 yards? You guys know this, in my opinion at least. In the NFL, how you finish games is really about players. How you start games is really about coaching.
You're scheming it up.
You're scheming it up.
The first 15 plays are scripted on how you're going to be able to have success versus the defense.
They're the only team who hasn't scored the first quarter point.
As a
down
defender,
23-0.
that's our biggest fear within the game, the first 15, because we know we're going to get schemed up and it's going to be something we haven't seen.
And so you're sitting there as a football team or as an organization and you see all the talent on offense. How can we not build a lead? How do we start every game slow?
Well, Bill, do you have any retort to Mr. Football?
I don't have any retort, and he's not wrong that the offense should not be starting this slowly. That is unacceptable. But I think I know where you're going, and you want to put it on Sirianni, and he takes part in that. But where's the offensive coordinator? I mean, where's Kellen Moore in this? Kellen Moore's the one scripting the plays, not Nick Sirianni.
Well, this is really interesting that you bring this up, because I don't know what the problem is, because I was just reading a story that was in Bleeding Green Nation where they're saying this is actually not a Kellen Moore offense, not even close. This is a Hurts offense. It is a spread gun offense with a complex running game that involves the quarterback. It wins with isolation routes and basic half-field concepts that take advantage of wide formations and run the threat via pass-run option. In short, it's the same college offense the Eagles have been running for Hurts for years. So they're saying this, no matter what you're trying to do here, and you bring a coordinator in who's supposed to do some different things, they can't do it with Hurts because a lot of it involves him going under center pre-snap notion, and they can't do it with him. So who's at fault here? Is it Sirianni? Is it Kellen Moore? Is it Hurts?
Are you finally coming over to my side of the aisle?
I'm just throwing it out there.
I've been saying this for weeks.
So you're saying this is Hurts?
I've been saying for weeks that is it possible that the reason they're not running pre-snap motion is because the quarterback's not comfortable with it? Is it possible that Jalen Hurts' turnovers are part of the reason why they've come out to slow starts? Because if you look at some of the first quarters over the last few weeks, we can blame the game plan. We can blame the head coach. But if you really look at the numbers, Jalen Hurts has missed some people early. Now, against the Browns, he starts the game 0 for 5. Was that Jalen Hurts not putting the ball in harm's way? I'm sure. Maybe it was a smart decision not to take chances early in the game, but he did start the game 0 for 5. You look at some of the other games. There was turnovers early in that first quarter by Jalen Hurts. You go to the Tampa Bay Bucs game. I know it was a broken play. He had Saquon Barkley wide open down the field. He throws it out of bounds over the wrong shoulder. So what is it? I think Jalen Hurts is comfortable with a certain style of offense, and we do say this all the time. A good coach builds an offense around his players, not forcing his players to fit their offense. So if Jalen doesn't fit what you saw from Kellen Moore in Dallas, then you shouldn't try to fit him into it. But I do think, again, going back to what we talked about yesterday, did we have unreasonable expectations? Should we be a little bit more patient as Kellen Moore and Jalen Hurts try to find their way together? Because they do need to create an offense that maximizes both of their skills. Kellen as a play caller, Jalen as a quarterback.
What was the point of hiring Kellen Moore then? And if it's the quarterback, what hope do we have that they can actually have an offense that's evolving? The bigger question is that. All right, we'll talk about it. 610-632-0975. Nick Sirianni with his pregame presser coming up at 11:40. We'll have it for you. We'll have our fearless selections. We'll have Kevin Todd, the prognosticator, on. Tim McManus joins us at 1 o'clock. It's a Football Friday. It's the Mike Missanelli Show. It's 97.5 The Fanatic. 13. It's the Mike Missanelli Show. We'll get around to talking about some baseball issues, and I know a lot of people are delighted to see the Mets went down again last night. They're pretty much cooked. And so, I mean, that's one of the reasons I kind of wanted them to be. They're decided underdog against the Dodgers. Dodgers are a better team.
Dodgers look really good.
So it's going to be but the game last night with the Yankees in Cleveland was one of the all-timers. I don't know if you watched that game. I was glued to it. And the late inning drama. We'll get to the highlights of that a little later. But I'm just curious to know, just an offshoot baseball question. Now that the Mets are going in the toilet, does it make Philly fans feel worse? Or they have completely checked out of baseball that they go, yeah, it doesn't matter. What do I care?
Yeah, if I had to guess, and I'm curious to hear what the callers think on it, but if I had to guess, fans don't care as much that they've checked out, because it really didn't matter who the Phillies were going to play. The way they were playing, would it have mattered if they played the Mets, if they played the Padres, if they played the Dodgers, if they would have played the Brewers? I mean, they had no shot with the way they were playing.
But this kind of cements the fact that they lost to an inferior team. Even though that team was gritty, you see how short they are now. You see what I mean. The Dodgers just pounded them.
You think
the pitching's not holding up? It's like everything that happened against the Phillies doesn't happen against the Dodgers.
So let me ask you this question: are the Mets more of an inferior team to the Phillies, or are the Dodgers more of a superior team to the Phillies?
Well, I don't know. The Mets got on this roll, right? And it was like the roll exceeded their ability. So I don't know how to answer that question. Yeah, it just so happened that their roll coincided with the Phillies playing them. But they certainly have hit a wall now. And I don't know. I don't know. I can't really process that the Phillies lost to the Mets team, who were not even competitive in this series. That's what hurts the worst. Like, if the Mets were competitive in this series, the Dodgers beat them, I go, yeah, you know what? They were just up against a pretty decent team. It was good. But they have proven that they were an inferior team.
And now that makes it 2 years in a row. I think the Diamondbacks were an inferior team.
You feel worse. It really does. It makes you feel worse that the Phillies lost to a team that's going belly up against this team.
See, I don't feel worse only because even if they would have beat the Mets, I think the Dodgers would have smoked them.
But that's beside the point. The Phillies lost to an inferior team. That's the indelible mark that it leaves, right? Had they lost to the Dodgers, we could probably process that the Dodgers were better. We can't process that the Mets were better.
No, you can't.
I could process that the Houston Astros were better than the Phillies.
Yeah,
when they won it that year.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
That's why that didn't hurt.
But last year, the Diamondbacks were inferior, and the Mets were inferior.
Exactly. 2 years in a row, they lost to inferior teams. Now, when that happens, you have to change it up. You can't. I understand that there was only a few positions they could change, but you have to now change it up when you've lost to two inferior teams. Had the Mets gone toe-to-toe with this team and lost in 7, then you go, wow. But they're clearly being engulfed by the Dodgers in this series.
They are. I mean, it's not over. But, yeah, the first couple games will show you.
Over.
Yeah, I mean, they've been getting smoked.
Yeah.
But, so what do you want to change? Because we've talked about this at length. There's really not much.
A longer conversation that is for another show.
Yes.
Because right now I want to hear Dan Orlovsky again because I'm going to play this all game. I want to get under your skin with Dan Orlovsky.
This is the least prepared football team in the NFL. The least prepared. They've had 5 opening drives this season. They got 22 yards. So you mean to tell me an offense that has Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert and one of the best offensive line in football and Saquon Barkley, they got 22 yards? You guys know this, in my opinion at least. In the NFL, how you finish games is really about players. How you start games is really about coaching.
You're scheming it up.
You're scheming it up.
The first 15 plays are scripted on how you're going to be able to have success versus the defense.
They're the only team who hasn't scored the first quarter point.
As a defender,
23-0.
that's our biggest fear within the game, the first 15, because we know we're going to get schemed up and it's going to be something we haven't seen.
And so you're sitting there as a football team or as an organization and you see all the talent on offense. How can we not build a lead? How do we start every game slow?
All right, let me add these up now, okay? So what we have here is the team that's not prepared because the head coach can't prepare him because he's a goof. We've got an offensive coordinator who can't apparently adjust to what the talent he has because he wants to do things that Hurts is incapable of doing. And then we have a quarterback who apparently is incapable of evolving. That's the three-headed dragon head of the Philadelphia Eagles right now. And they're still 3-2. Yeah. But add all this up and tell me where you see the tunnel for hope.
Well, because there's, like you said, they're 3-2, and we can go back to what I talked about yesterday. I do think that fans were being a little bit naive to assume that everything was just going to immediately mesh together and be perfect. That Kellen Moore was going to come in here. Why
is that being naive?
Because
when you hire people, you're supposed to bring in a system. You bring them in early enough. You have a pre-camp, and then you have a camp. Like, I don't understand that. Why we have to allow for what? Half the season?
No.
This is pro football.
We're not half the season. We're talking 5 games.
This is not building a college program.
You're talking 5 out of 17 games. If we want to base seasons off of 5 games, the Kansas City Chiefs wouldn't even have made the playoffs last year.
But Bill, here's the thing. If you're Kellen Moore, you go, you know what? This quarterback doesn't fit my strengths. So let me tailor a system that fits to his strengths. So what we have to do is we have to squeeze a square peg into a round hole here?
No, I think they are trying to do that. And now this is going to sound like an excuse, but it's reality. Has the offense been healthy for every single game this year? Did I miss something, or did A.J. Brown miss games? Did Devontae Smith miss games? Did Lane Johnson miss games?
You go excuse. And other teams have to put up with the same thing. So you haven't addressed this. It's a team not prepared because the head coach is a goof. It's an offensive coordinator who can't adjust to what he has and is unrealistic about the talents of his quarterback. And then it's the talents of the quarterback who might not be able to evolve. These are 3 things that really bug me. Apparently they don't bug you.
No, they bug me. I want to see them come out to quicker starts, but the season's not over. We're talking 5 games.
610-632-0975. Your calls are next. Mike Missanelli Show. Eagles, Giants. I think people really, normally, I feel bad for the fan base right now. I really do. The fan base doesn't have anything to latch on to right now. When I first came back here in August, I go, wow, this is such a great time to come back. The Phillies are going to make a run. The Eagles look like they're a pretty good team. The Sixers now with Paul George, the whole bit. There was a palatable excitement. And right now, people don't have any handle to latch on to. They just really don't. The Phillies just dropped them dead, right? And the Eagles now are like, I hear the audible groans out there, metaphorically or realistically. I hear the audible, what we got here?
Yeah, it's a weird time, especially for this city, because no matter what, people usually have high expectations.
This is why I fight for the fan base. You got to give them something.
You fight
really,
for the fan
I
base.
fight for the fan base. I go, this fan base is a large market fan base that deserves something, and I thought they were going to get something. And here they're like, and maybe it still might. Don't get me wrong. I mean, we got Sixer season to come. The Flyers, they lost last night. So. But the Eagles, I think, can still rally, maybe. But I'm being held back by these premises, and the premises is they're not a very well prepared team. I think the head coach is a goof. The offensive coordinator can't implement a system because the quarterback limits him. If the quarterback's limited, then what do we have as a franchise quarterback? I don't like all these things are colliding in my head, Bill. I can't take it.
And you're not wrong. I mean, I've told people, I think maybe we should be a little patient. But it is hard to be patient. It is. But it's only 5 games. And that's what I'm trying to tell people is we can't overreact to this. Would you rather it be like last season where they start at 10-1 and then they just collapse?
Listen, you might be right, but it still doesn't it doesn't lead the fan base anywhere now. I mean, we do stuff that's fluid. We do stuff that's current. And right now, what's current to a Philadelphia fan base is not a lot of excitement.
No,
let's face it. There's not a lot of excitement. We're talking now about a team that we thought could actually do something in the playoffs, and now they're a 3-point favorite against the lowly Giants. And there's absolutely no excitement for this game.
It is kind of crazy. There isn't any excitement.
There's no excitement.
I don't hear a buzz.
You're playing the Giants, and you go, I don't smoke the Giants. There's not even that.
We started on the YouTube show today. The whole chat was talking about Sixers. I mean, it's a football Friday. The chat was talking about the Sixers. I couldn't believe it. My dad actually texted me. He goes, the YouTube chat's all they talk about is Sixers.
The Sixers really have to kick off their season. There's no question that the Sixers will bring some excitement. But all we are left with now, I swear to God, this is a bad collision of cars in a 5-way intersection, right? Because the Phillies are out, and their conqueror has their tail between their legs now to the Dodgers, right? Like we didn't have enough pain and agony. Now we realize what an inferior team they lost to. Now we go here. Well, football season will save us. They're a 3-point favorite against the Giants with no excitement. But people's thinking that they could lose the game. And Dan Orlovsky's saying this is the worst organized team in football.
Dan Orlovsky.
Well, I mean, forget Dan Orlovsky. Forget that.
He does a good job.
The premise is that there are people that actually think this is the worst prepared team in football. What are we supposed to do? What is the fan base supposed to respond to right now? Tell me.
I'm at a loss too, man. I get where the fan base is coming from, especially with the disappointment of last season, and then you mix in the Phillies and all that. Even our fly guys dropped it last night. I was frustrated. They had a lead early, and then Vadotol's probably not the answer in that, but I digress. I don't know.
Yes, you digress.
Yeah, I don't know what the fan base should latch on to, except for the fact that it's not that bad. And this is the message I was trying to give them yesterday. It's still a 3-2 football team, okay? Everything that they wanted to accomplish this season is still in front of them. It is a long season. They still can win the division. They could still make the playoffs. These pieces can still gel. I don't love that they haven't scored points in the first quarter. But I will say, I don't put that all on the head coach.
Well, you're more focused on what could be rather than what is. I get it.
Well, they still have talent.
I understand it.
Yeah, but they still have talent.
Do they look like a talent? Like, I know that people say, "Whoa, look at all the talent they have," but there's something missing with this team. There's just something missing, and it goes right to the head coach's seat. They don't engender any confidence, even though they have good personnel. There's something missing. What is it?
I think Rob may know.
Let's go to Rob on a cell. Rob, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Rob.
Hey, how you doing?
What's up, Rob? Rob, why don't the Eagles have an identity, and how can they get it?
Well, that is my argument. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay. Yeah, that's my argument is that we don't have one. When I watch other teams, you watch the Ravens, you know you have to stop Derrick Henry. You know they're going to run the ball. What do? We just have weapons. We know we have weapons, but we don't have an identity. It's nothing. It's like no game plan. And we saw that these 15 scripted plays, but what are they? It's trash. I sit there and I watch these games, and I don't live in Philly, so I have to pay $400 to watch it, and it's trash. They have no identity. Am I tripping here, or is it, you're seeing?
No, they don't. And I brought up three concepts. So, number one, the team is not prepared. Orlowski makes a good point. When you game plan for a team and you have a terrible time starting and you can't score a point in the first quarter, that speaks to preparation against what you think the other team is going to do to you. That's A. B is they can't adjust, or the offensive coordinator can't adjust because his strengths don't match what the quarterback does, and he hasn't been able to say, my quarterback can't do the things I usually do, so let me focus on the strengths that he does do. But they haven't been able to do that. And then you got the quarterback who go, he's my franchise quarterback, and I can't do all these things with him. Like, so what do I do? Like, those three things are prohibitive.
You run the ball. Maybe you run the ball. You make it work off of play actions and stuff like that. They don't even run the ball. He'll come out, give one attempt. He'll get 5 yards.
They tried to run Saquon 18 times last week.
18 times. How long did it take him to start? What was the first play? Let's go over the first drive. What was it? One run by Saquon. I think he got like 5 or 6 yards. Next play was a pass. Next play was a pass. Am I correct?
I have to look at the play-by-play sheet. My point is they did try to run the ball, but the other team wanted to stop the run. So if this is what I'm talking about, adjustments. The other team is stopping you from doing one of your strengths. Well, then you got 3 other strengths you should have.
You have a $37 million running back. Run the ball. Derrick Henry and the Ravens didn't start winning until they ran the ball.
Apparently you didn't hear what I said. they ran the ball. They ran the ball 18 times, and it was being
on in the game.
All right,
they started running the game in the second half when they wanted to drive up the field. Are you not doing? So we're not watching the same games then, because
no, we are watching the same games. My point is the running game wasn't being successful. They kept trying to do it. So if it's not successful, then you got to do other things. This is all about what a good coaching staff does. You have to adjust and adapt. And this is why I really don't have any faith in this head coach, because he apparently doesn't see it.
I think it's an overreaction, man. I'm telling you, I've been frustrated too. I think it's an overreaction. And first of all, they need to give Saquon the ball more is the most overblown narrative I've heard. The guy sits in the top 7 of rushing attempts, and he's done it in one less game because of the bye. So they are giving him the football. You also, look, I get the Bucs game was ugly. Okay? The Bucs game was an ugly performance. We can make excuses for injuries, the back-to-back road games, whatever it may be. They put up over 400 yards against the Packers in week 1. They put up almost 400 yards against the Falcons in week 2. They put up close to 500 yards against the Saints in week 3, and they put up almost 400 yards against the Cleveland Browns last week. So I get it. They need to still find their identity. But the overreactions to an offense that's top 10 in the league in terms of yards per game is an overreaction. You got to look at the numbers. Turnovers have killed this team. Red zone efficiency has killed this team. You are able to correct those. If you can identify those as the issues and correct them, this team is now going to start to move into the top 10 of points per game. They will find their identity. It's 5 damn games. You've added an offensive coordinator. You added a weapon like Saquon Barkley. You have to figure this thing out. And to be 3-2 after 5 games with the way the season started, it's not that bad. Fans need to relax. We do. We need to relax.
Right. Are things that bad?
You said something pretty telling earlier on when Mike was going through the numbers with the Giants defense and saying, well, this shows that they're maybe not as strong here or there. And you said, well, look at the final score. Look at the final score and how that justifies where the Giants defense is right now.
Yes.
Look at the final score of these Eagles games. Like, I'm sorry, you shouldn't play the Cleveland Browns to 4 points. You give me the blocked kick, but it's just another example of poor execution. This team consistently finds itself in dogfights against bad teams and goes down. And like that Tampa game, I understand you got every excuse under the book. You didn't show up for it, and you got your rear end handed to you in Tampa Bay again. You went down there to the place where you got eliminated a season ago, and you had no juice for that game. That's why this fan base has no juice for this team right now, because they haven't given you any reason to really hold on to something and believe in anything. And that's patience, sure. But, like, where's the moment where I'm like, hey, this team's got something? I haven't had that moment. I've had the, they survived that one. That's great. Or, wow, that was a horrific loss, and I want to burn my eyes after watching it.
You're absolutely right. There's nothing to hold on to right now. So let's look, because my man goes, how did they start the game? Well, let's look at how they started the game against the Browns. 1st and 10. All right, you got what you wanted. Barkley for 5. Now, it's 2nd and 5. Maybe it's too early to do this, but when it's 2nd and 5 and you want to spring a long pass, it's not a bad down to do it in. Because at least you have maybe some play action because you gave the ball to Barkley for the first play. So they go deep, incomplete. 3rd and 5. Now they've got to pass it, so they try to go to a sure thing with the tight end, incomplete. They don't convert it. All right, next drive. That was the fumble on the shotgun snap. So now no gain. So now they go. Hurts runs it again. We got a 3rd and 1, and what do? They give it to Barkley. No gain. They stop him. All right, now you got to kick it. Or no, you tush pushed, and you got the first down. So again, shotgun, Barkley runs it. 2nd and 6, Hurts incomplete. What I'm seeing is a trend here. They're not giving the ball to Barkley in consecutive plays, if that's what people are upset about. But they are giving him the ball, and they're setting up 2nd and 5 type of downs where that's usually a good down to pass on.
What's the Eagles' record right now?
3 and 2.
Okay. The way people talk about this team, you would think it was an 0-5 football team. That's all I'm saying is, are there things they need to improve? Absolutely. First quarter points, it's ridiculous that they haven't scored. The slow starts need to be corrected. The turnovers need to be corrected. It's just the fan base right now. And I think, and I understand it because it's based off of the way the season collapsed last year. They came into this season with a bad taste in their mouth, and now every little thing that happens is an overreaction. Everyone thought they were going to go to Brazil and get dominated by the Packers. They won that game. They beat the damn Green Bay Packers in Brazil week 1. That gets brushed under the rug. They were a catch away from beating the Atlanta Falcons, an easy catch away. And then you mix in the fact that A.J. Brown hasn't played. Lane Johnson hasn't played. The fact that this team is 3 and 2 right now, I know it hasn't looked pretty, but my God, with the overreactions, this is the reason why you play 17 games. It's not a 5-game season.
I'm just trying to address their plays and how they're scheming and how they're coming into a game against a particular team. The notion is they're not giving the ball to Barkley enough. Well, on the 3rd drive, they kicked the field goal to lead 3-0. They gave the ball to Barkley 6 times. He carried 6 times in that drive. Now,
but what do you want, though? 30 carries a game?
No, that's what I'm saying. They are giving him the ball. There are sometimes you're going to have to throw the ball, in which case those downs you got to convert. Now, on that particular drive where they only got the field goal, they got to the Browns, 31, and they stalled. So they gave Barkley the ball for 3 yards on first down. Gainwell somehow came in the game. He got 3. 3rd and 4. You got to throw the ball there. It's incomplete.
What drive you on? The
I'm
one that
talking
kicked the
about
field
the
goal?
one where they kicked the field goal. They ran it twice to set him up with a 3rd and 4. You would like it to be a 3rd and 1 where you can tush push, but it was a 3rd and 4. I got to count on my quarterback to complete a short pass to keep that drive moving. They didn't.
Yeah. Listen, I keep saying it. I don't know how many times I
And
can
he
say it.
doesn't throw the ball well in the middle of the field. That's a fact.
But now you're talking about Jalen.
I'm talking about Jalen. So all these things are factors that you got to figure out how you got to call plays and what plays will be more successful. You got a quarterback that you can't do a lot of things with, apparently. So if you're Kellen Moore, work with it.
And if this is the same problem 5 weeks from now, I will agree with you. But the fact that we are over-analyzing what Kellen Moore and Jalen Hurts are doing together through the first 5 games, you got to give it time. We said this in the summertime.
Why?
Because it's a
why do you have to give it time? You had mini camp. You had a whole training camp. You knew exactly what he was. You had film study. This is what I can do with this guy. This is what I can't do.
Here's what I
why
don't get
do
about
you
you.
need a half a season?
I know you're going to say it's a different sport. But my God, you are the calmest person in the world. The Phillies are falling apart in front of our eyes, and they got to be patient.
Baseball is determined by mano a mano. Football is determined by sophisticated game planning.
And the reason you need to be patient is Kellen Moore, as good as an offensive coordinator as he may have been, and I still think he will find his rhythm here, he's never had a quarterback like Jalen. Ever.
Well, he took the job knowing he had a quarterback like this.
And it's 5 damn games.
Let's ignore let's ignore April. That's when did they start in April, or is it my imagination that they just started day 1 in September?
I believe they started back.
They started in April, didn't they?
Was it April, Ray?
Yeah.
But
March.
Mike, listen to me. Listen to me. You are acting as if this is a basement dweller of an offense. They are averaging 370 yards a game. That would put them in the top 10. Where they have struggled has been, yes, first quarter points, turnovers, and in the red zone. These are things that can be corrected. If Jalen Hurts stops turning the football over and this team can start converting in the red zone, we're not going to be saying this about this offense.
No, that's such a lamb. Of course we're not. What I'm saying is they haven't given this fan base anything to hold on to. In other words, their game planning and their coaching has not been able to get a team whirring like an engine so the fan base can go, all right, we got something. And you're saying, well, I can't. It's okay. They eventually will get it because it's early.
Do you agree that A.J. Brown and Lane Johnson are important to this offense?
Of course.
Okay, they weren't in for 3 games.
Other teams lose players all the time.
And this team is 3-2, even in spite of those injuries. So why are we
They beat the
overreacting?
Cleveland Browns last week.
Did they win the damn game? And I've gone through this with you before. There was a ton of positives in that game.
They were a 9.5-point favorite. They barely won the game.
They dominated everywhere but the scoreboard. They had a blocked field goal for a touchdown. It's a fluke play. Listen, I don't want to stand up here and act like everything's been great. It hasn't. But when you look at the big picture, it's not as bad as fans. And now Mike Missanelli and Ray Dunn are making it out to be.
It is because they haven't shown any sign of pizzazz. And we could sit here and say, well, they're mediocre, but they'll eventually get it. They're going to get it because it's early, because they got coordinators that are different, and they can't adapt. And they're 5 games long. They started in April. They can't adapt.
I will say this. If this offense doesn't improve, it's on Jalen Hurts and nobody else. That will be the reason.
You love yourself some Kellen Moore and Nick Sirianni.
I just think a lot of the issues with the offense have been the
those
quarterback.
guys have nothing to do with it. 610-632-0975. Mike Missanelli Show continues. to by Grungo Law. Your law firm when you need help causing an injury. Pray for peace. Prepare for trial. GrungoLaw.com. 10 o'clock hour. Brought to you by Window Nation. Take advantage of Window Nation's 50% off sale on all style windows, including the window into the Eagle's soul. Plus, make no down payment with no payments and no interest for 12 full months. Call 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com. And a window into the Eagle's soul shows what? Shows an emptiness, a vapidness. A window into the Eagle's soul shows a team that could very well lose to the New York Giants at MetLife this Sunday, Bill?
I don't think they lose, but I'm thinking it may be an ugly game.
Could it be a Giants cover? I might bet the Giants. I might bet the Giants. Three is like a gift. I see maybe a last-minute field goal. The Eagles win by a point.
As crazy as it sounds, because I've been preaching that's going to be an ugly game, I don't expect the offense to dominate a good Giants defense. I do think they cover. I just don't think it's going to be what a lot of people want, which is that double-digit win that we haven't seen since Miami in week 7, I guess it was.
In a year. Calendar year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a year, but this isn't the week. I mean, since when, though, do we just look at a division opponent on the road when you're missing your starting left tackle and your starting tight end and just say, yeah, if they don't steamroll this team, I'm out?
We've been doing that for the last 3 years with Washington and the Giants.
And how many times?
About?
And what happened with Washington? Washington beat them when they were unbelievable in 2022.
That's the last time we looked at it. We've been looking at the Giants and Washington that way for the last 3 years.
And you shouldn't. You should
what
never.
Are you talking about?
You should never look at a division opponent on the road and say, "Oh yeah, it's a blowout."
That's fine. I would have looked at a team coming from the AFC that had a quarterback that's played historically bad and would have said, hey, maybe a double-digit win there, especially when you're a 9.5-point favorite at home.
And what did the defense do to that historically bad quarterback? They held him to 9 points and they sacked him 5 times.
What was the final score?
There was a block. That's why I keep saying this. There was a blocked field goal, and the offense didn't execute enough to score points.
So if you take out the bad things, it was great.
No, but all we want to focus on is the negative. Like, we have become such a negative fan base when it comes to the Eagles.
We're not focusing on the negative. If they gave us something to hold on to, we wouldn't be focusing on the negative.
And the fact that they're 3-2 after 5 games.
That's not enough to hold on to. 3-2 when
it's all that matters.
When you struggle to beat the Browns is not enough to hold on to.
It's all that matters.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
It is all that matters right now.
You look at the overall quality of the team, you go, this team's not that good. That's what people are focused on.
And you don't think the Browns' defense was a good defense?
No, the Browns, they're 1-5. Crying out loud.
Wait.
Enough.
1-5 isn't what matters. You just said the record isn't what matters.
But they stink. They're a 1-5 that stinks. They don't even have a quarterback that can win.
There was a lot of positive to take from that Browns game.
Oh, my God.
More positive than negative. I know people didn't like the final score.
Unbelievable. All right, let me just shift gears a little bit, and we'll get to the calls. A lot of people want to talk about this. I know people aren't watching baseball now. Most Philly fans check out of baseball. I watch it because I like baseball, and I like a team like the Cleveland Guardians who you look at and they go, man, they're spunky. I like spunky teams. Like they're not overly talented, but they have a formula that wins. So I'm watching the game last night, and they're in a must-win situation against the Yankees. And all of a sudden, they bring their closer in to get 1 out in the 8th. Now, this Manuel Clase was unhittable during the season. This goes to show you how different baseball is in the playoffs, right? Because this guy needs to get 4 outs. He comes in, and he is greeted by back-to-back bombs. Let's hear who is on the call here. Is this Brian Anderson?
Brian Anderson.
Brian Anderson on the call as Aaron Judge steps up. Now, Aaron Judge is a monster home run hitter, but he's got a plan in his head. And the plan is, if I can't catch up to this guy and get that ball in front of the plate, well, I'm strong enough to hit it the other way. Here's what happened.
Ready for a 1-2. Here he comes. Judge, line drive, right field, hit well, and it is up and out! Judge has homered! The game is tied at 3! Incredible! Aaron Judge in the clutch!
99 on the outside part of the plate. 110 mile an hour to right field. All right, now, Clase is shook. Here comes Giancarlo Stanton. Now they've lost the lead, and he was going to get 4 outs to win the game to keep the Guardians in the series. Here comes Giancarlo Stanton.
A home run to Kerry Carpenter. That ball's hit well. Deep center field. Way back there. Giancarlo Stanton. A home run. Judge and Stanton go back to back. And the New York Yankees have grabbed the lead.
It's like, I'm stunned. That's freaking Yankees. Class A is a mess. They beat them. So now the Yankees have the lead. Now, in the bottom of the 8th, or was it bottom of the 9th, maybe?
Bottom of the 9th.
Bottom of the 9th inning.
Because the Yankees put another run on the board there, too.
Yeah.
It was 5-3.
Okay, so there's the Guardians get a man on, and they pinch hit with Jhonkensy Noel, who is a big monster guy, but he's coming on cold off the bench. And so he comes in, and he's got one thing in mind. He needs to hit a home run, right? Now, you know how difficult it is knowing you have to hit a home run to actually hit a home run?
Yeah.
Here comes Jhonkensy Noel to the plate.
Oh my goodness! Big Christmas has tied it!
Oh, my. I mean,
The ultimate present under the tree! Oh my goodness! Jhonkensy Noel! The biggest swing of his life!
can you imagine what that fan base now is going through? That dude, it was a no-doubter. Crush, drop bat, trot, right?
2 outs, right?
No, I think there was 1 out. I don't remember what it is.
I believe there were 2.
2 outs?
Yeah.
All right. So now what? That ties the score?
Yes.
All right, that ties the score. We go into extra innings. And this is off the Yankees closers, by the way. They're late inning pitchers. The Class A fails, they're late inning. It goes to show you that, these relief pitchers, they're like kickers. Sometimes they're going to hit a wall. All right, so here we go now. David Fry, who was a player to be named later in a trade that Cleveland had gotten during the season from the Brewers, he steps up with a man on second base in the extras.
In game 3, Fry, deep drive, left field. Fry's watching. It is a walk-off home run. David Fry lights up the Cleveland night.
I mean, are you kidding me with that finish?
I'm trying to find the stat because I saw something that this was the first time in Major League Baseball history, I thought, where there was 3 2-run home runs with 2 outs. Ray, did you see that? There's something like that. There was 3 2-run home runs from the 8th inning on. Some like crazy stat. It's the first time it's ever happened. That there was an 8th inning, 9th inning, 10th inning.
I'm watching the game. Here's me. I'm watching the game. Judge home run. Oh, my God. Giancarlo Stanton comes up. I go, oh, my God. The big Christmas. Jhonkensy Noel comes up. Oh, my God. David Fry. I uttered 4 oh, my gods.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy.
Now, why? It's funny because we had a Noel in town. We never called him Skinny Noel.
Big Christmas is such a good nickname.
We didn't call him Skinny Christmas here.
How did we miss that?
I don't know.
We did.
We
The
failed.
big Christmas. The Skinny Christmas we had.
Such a good nickname.
That is a great name.
But see, those are pretty good calls.
They were great
because
calls.
that's exactly what we're going. Oh my God!
Brian Anderson, fresh off of a contract extension.
Yeah, he's pretty good, and he's kind of underrated, I guess. Joe Davis is really good too with baseball. But that's the moment. Like, you're the broadcaster, and you can't believe that. Like, are you kidding me? Jhonkensy Noel hits that home run. Like, what?
It's such a big game tonight now for Cleveland.
Well,
they almost fell to a 3-0 deficit.
Baseball doesn't carry over normally, but that's a shocking loss for the Yankees after they had so much emotion going ahead. Oh, I just had to do that. I had to mix in a little baseball. We're coming back with the Eagles. Some people say they're underachieving. Some people are saying you're overreacting. We'll get to the text board. We'll get all that stuff. We'll get your calls right after this. Show 97.5 The Fanatic. Coming up, I always love these. I love them. Nick Sirianni presser.
Hell yeah.
You think he'll be
At
as
11:40 today.
don't think he'll be as subdued as he was the other day?
20 minutes from now. We'll see what gems he has in store for everybody.
I think he's going to be very even keel, subdued. There were no references that we like to make fun of in his last press conference. So I think he's probably going to keep it dialed down.
He owes me an on-time presser.
That's not happening.
Now 11:40.
He's always a couple minutes late.
We'll have our fearless picks coming up with Kevin Todd at 12:30. Tim McManus joins us at 1. It's a football Friday. And let's go back to the phones here. Talk to Mark in Newtown Square. Mark, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Mark.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
What's up, buddy?
Oh, not much. Yeah. I'm trying to figure out what would another coach do with the roster that we had, number one, and then also what would Kirk Cousins do with our offensive roster? Like, just take him for instance. Do you think it would move better?
Yeah, I think so.
Mike?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I think that the play action would certainly work. I think he would be under center a little more. But that doesn't mean that I can't have an attack. Like a couple years ago, the attack they had offensively, Jalen Hurts, did we think there was anything wrong with that? So, utilize that strength. I know they are hamstrung by the fact that they don't want him with read options, getting banged up and the whole bit. But, what else do you want to do?
What else are we going to do? I mean, are the expectations, misaligned? Because we expect this to be an elite Super Bowl contending team. Is that not where we are right now?
No.
I mean,
No,
I'm saying best case.
No, I can't see this team as a serious Super Bowl contender right now. I just can't see it. And I'm allowing for growth. I just can't see that they could be as good as a couple of teams in this conference.
So then, what are we going to do? What is the answer to change the quarterback? Sirianni's not coming back, no matter what happens. We know that, right?
If they win a playoff game, he's coming back. If they win the division, we'll see. I have a hard time believing that the Washington Commanders are going to win this division.
Why is that, Mike?
I just don't see that they're ready with a rookie quarterback to win a division. They're a nice team. They've made good strides. I think that.
What would convince you? What would convince you?
I don't know. They would have to win a lot of games against pretty good competition for me to be totally.
There's always going to be teams that are better than what people thought they were going to be, so it's kind of not surprising.
But how many times does a rookie quarterback do that?
I mean, what's his name? RG3 had a good rookie season. Who else had a good rookie season?
CJ Stroud from last year. A lot of people.
CJ Stroud.
All right, CJ Stroud, maybe Brock Purdy. But you got to have a really good team around you, and I don't know. I just don't buy it yet.
Yeah, well, we'll see. But I do know that this Giants game is not going to be just a cupcake. I mean, this is going to be interesting to see what happens.
I'm actually going to probably bet the Giants with the Eagles winning by a smaller than 3-point margin. That's where I'm leaning right now.
I still think that there's still issues that remain from last year. Like, there's still something inside the organization, whether it's they don't respect. There's something in the locker room that still, it doesn't look
well. But it's a really interesting point because we don't know what the locker room feels about their head coach. I think that when you think that your head coach is one of you, that's the worst thing that could happen. So if there are players in that locker room that are cool with what Nick did, say, yeah, man, he's a fighter. I'd love to do that. That doesn't mean they respect him as a head coach. I think there's got to be a division between your players and your head coach. There's got to be this lofty perch that the coach stands on that engenders respect in a locker room rather than him being one of the boys.
I don't disagree with you that there's a fine line between you could like your coach, but do you respect your coach? But this is also what you've said to me many times when I've told you that what happened last week could rally this team behind Nick Sirianni. You said, look, professional athletes, they don't play for their coach.
They don't.
So to me, that doesn't jive with well, there needs to be this lofty divide between the player and the coach. I mean, these are professional grown men. So you're not – look, there's a reason why a lot of times these professional football players will call their head coach by their first name, whereas you would never do that in high school or college. You think guys at Alabama were calling Coach Saban Nick Saban? No, but you see that in the NFL. It's different in the NFL.
I agree. And so here's where I go. If those players are going, some of the players are going, yeah, he's telling MS what's up. I go, okay, do they believe in him as a coach who can lead them with a plan that makes a win game? Like, I don't care much about, he's telling MS what's up as much as I do, that dude knows what he's doing.
Yeah. And I think that'll get determined over the next few weeks. I do think it'll get determined. And that caller said, what do they do? Do they replace the head coach and the quarterback? Hurts isn't going anywhere.
No, he's not going anywhere.
For a couple years.
Yeah, he's your guy.
And if he continues to struggle, Sirianni will be gone. No head coach survives bad quarterback play, so he'll get a shot with another head coach. But you look at last season, and it was Brian Johnson as the offensive coordinator, and you heard Hurts is struggling because Sirianni's involved. Johnson's running Sirianni's offense. Well, now you bring in Kellen Moore, and everything we were told was Kellen Moore was going to call the shots on offense, and once again it's, Hurts is struggling because Sirianni's getting in Kellen Moore's way. And I keep asking myself, is it Sirianni or has Jalen Hurts been the issue? And I'm starting to lean more towards Jalen Hurts being the issue. Sirianni's not the one out there telling him to turn the ball over, telling him to not protect the football in the pocket, or when he leaves the pocket to make sure you're not taking chances throwing across your body in the middle of the field. I'm not out on Hurts, though. I still think Hurts can get back to the guy you saw in 2022. But when I look at this slow start, if you want to call it that, because you and Ray aren't happy with the 3-2 start, and I get it. There's been things not to like.
Listen to you. Listen to you separate yourself from
the
me and Ray thing about not being satisfied with 3-2, indicating that you are satisfied.
No, there are things I want to see them improve.
Yeah.
But I do believe that a lot of the offensive struggles where they haven't been firing on all cylinders could come down to the quarterback play, most importantly. But to give him a little bit of a excuse here, he didn't have A.J. Brown for 3 games. And I know we want to say, well, that's an excuse. That's an excuse. A.J. Brown is probably their best player on offense. You didn't have Lane Johnson for the Bucs game.
Hey, Nick, Kellen, come into the Bill-protected veil, and we'll close the door. And Jalen, you're not allowed in. This is a Bill thing. 610-632-0975. Coming up, Nick Sirianni. After this. of the head football coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, Nick Sirianni. For my money, one of the top 25 favorite coaches that I've ever had in this town. He would be 25th. See, that's a left-handed compliment right there. Nick is one of the top 25 coaches I've ever experienced in this town.
I will say this. As an Eagles fan, you may hate Sirianni, but doing what we do, I mean, he really is gold. He gives us so much stuff to talk about. I mean, think about Andy Reid's press conferences. You got nothing from that guy. At least with Sirianni, we got stuff to talk about.
I'm trying to figure out who my least favorite coaches would be in this town. He would be a top 5. He would definitely be a top 5. Who else would?
What'd you think of Rivers? Did you like Doc?
Love it. I liked him at first, and then
whether you like it or not.
Yeah, I kind of lost him.
And then
I had a row with Doc on the air.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. We went back and forth over Ben Simmons.
You don't know basketball.
Wait, was that to Mike?
Yeah, it probably was. It might have been.
It's a dumbass question.
I was talking about, like, Ben Simmons. It just made me crazy how he would beat everybody and get to the basket, be right there, and then somehow kick it way back out because he was afraid to finish.
I am who I am.
And I go, Doc, what makes sense about him beating the guy off the dribble, getting all the way to the basket, and then kicking it back out? And he goes, well, I think that's a better shot than I go, okay, so you're telling me that a better shot is when he kicks it out for a 3 rather than a sure 2. He goes, yeah. And then, I mean, he might have said that's why you don't know basketball.
You don't know basketball.
Now you see this a lot anymore where you get dribble, drive, and kick out. But Ben Simmons was 6'10", and he would get to the basket for an easy 2. And that's what bugged me about it. So that was the row we had.
Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of Doc Rivers, but I think he also was just trying to defend Ben to a fault at times, where because when they did criticize him, he checked out.
He definitely was.
But the one time Doc Rivers does criticize, what happens? Ben never played here again.
Yeah.
But you missed the one drop. I think that's Ray's least favorite coach. The Lovett drop.
No, that's Ricky Bosley's favorite coach.
Oh, it's Ricky Bose. Gabe Kapler.
You didn't like Gabe?
Ricky did not like Gabe. There it is. Love it. Was he talking about the curveball machine? Is that what that was?
I don't think anybody liked Gabe Kapler. He just wasn't. He didn't resonate with anybody because he was weird.
The coconut oil didn't resonate with you?
Well, it's not only coconut oil. It was coconut oil where?
Yeah, what he used it for.
Let's be honest about it.
Wait, how do we even know that information?
He said it. He had a podcast.
Yeah.
Or he had a video.
Men's health blog or something.
Yeah, he had a blog
I think that's how
where he said
got
it was healthy to sun yourself, sun your testicles after
with coconut oil.
coating in the coconut oil.
One of a kind. One of a kind. That
it made you more virile.
He's running operations down there for the Marlins.
I can't make this stuff up.
Oh man.
So yeah, he'd be on the list.
Chip has to be on the list.
I personally hated Jim Fregosi, but listen, they got the World Series with the guy, so.
Yeah, but got to the Super Bowl with Nick.
Yeah,
I sound like Bill on this one, but they didn't get to the Super Bowl with Nick.
Yeah, Chip Kelly, I guess, would have to be on that list.
Well, I would put Chip Kelly because I felt like
the list.
Well, I felt like Chip was not a good person.
Well, he was weird.
Yeah.
But he was aloof and he didn't have any interpersonal skills.
And what he did
emotional intelligence.
He decimated.
And so you see the serious upgrade they've made on emotional intelligence.
I'm the dumbest coach in the world.
Seriously. Give me Lori again. Give me Lori.
Emotional intelligence.
Now,
wait, drop.
Nick Sirianni comes into your office for his job interview. Is he rubbing off emotional intelligence to you? This is what it's so perplexing about.
Hell yeah,
Lori. He was so desirable for emotional intelligence. This guy comes in and has Harry High School.
Well, I think that quote, emotional intelligence, was before they hired Doug.
Yes.
Right? It was after Chip before they hired Doug.
Yeah. So what? So that evaporates? The concept of emotional intelligence evaporates when Harry High School comes into your office?
No, but Sirianni's big calling card, at least I thought when he got here, was about culture and building the culture and connecting both on and off the field. So that did flow with the emotional intelligence. Now, some of the things he's been doing on the sidelines, I agree with you. That's not a very emotionally intelligent head coach, but I do think that it still remains. He tries to build a culture where they what isn't connect one of their core values, right? We hear them all the time.
It is.
I don't know. I'm just going back in time at his first job interview. Like, he comes in like he's selling Girl Scout cookies. And I'm going to hire him to be my head football coach. I don't know.
See, this is why I got accused of being Sirianni's defender. Is we may not like some of the things he does, but there's no way he goes into that job interview and is just a complete clown. I mean, he didn't get to where he was in his career in the NFL if the guy didn't know anything about football. And in 2022, it was a very good offense.
I'm just zeroed in on the emotional intelligence.
So much good
concept. That's all I'm zeroed in on.
Yeah,
I mean, not even on your best Sirianni worship days are you going to say he has emotional intelligence.
No, and
right?
that opening press conference was brutal. That was a brutal.
And then I take it back to, okay, well, what could the job interview have been? Like, what possibly could have made you want to hire the guy? At that time, he was worse than ever with the silliness. Right? Am I right?
He was, but it worked. They go to a Super Bowl. They're a half away from beating the Kansas City Chiefs.
Sometimes things work, but people have no control over how they work. I don't know. Sometimes that happens.
No, he needs to
with
stop.
Doug Peterson.
But there's no excuse for what he did after the Browns game. I'm with you on that.
All right, let's go to David as we wait for Sirianni. David wants to say the Eagles are better than people say. Go ahead, Dave.
Mike, I've been listening to you since you came on the air, man. I can't believe you're saying this stuff.
What am I saying?
Let me give some facts about. Let's go first with the Eagles as a team. Mm-hmm. They got it's only 4 teams in the entire league that got a better record than the Eagles.
Oh, come on, man. Let's not look at the record. Let's look at what they are.
Hold on. Let's go down the line, right? We keep talking about Jalen and Jalen turnovers. Then you have the audacity to bring up Kirk Cousins.
No,
Kirk Cousins got more turnovers than Jalen.
Would Kirk Cousins be a more efficient quarterback with the Kellen Moore style was the question.
He has more turnovers than Jalen. Interceptions.
The Falcons are ranked 10 places ahead of the Eagles as far as power rankings.
Because Jalen been playing without his top wide receiver. But let me ask you a question, Mike, because do you agree Andy Reid is a good coach?
I guess, yeah.
Kansas City a good team. This ain't no trick questions or nothing, but they're a good team, right?
Yeah.
Then why come Mahomes threw more interceptions than Jalen this season?
No, but come on.
He only had 20 yards more than Jalen.
What, like Mahomes has always been this way? Like he's always stunk? Come
Has Jalen always been this way? No, Jalen played him head up in the championship game. And to me, basically, if he had won, we would have gave him MVP.
You seem to be offended by an indictment of Jalen, and that's fine.
But no, it's not just Jalen,
you
Mike.
can be, that way.
Here's
the David. Let me just ask you the question, really.
Go ahead.
You actually think that right now the Eagles are an impressive team?
Yes.
Wow.
They're going to be, Mike.
You said they're going to. You said they're going to be. I'm talking about right now, David. Are they an impressive team?
They would be the third best team in the league had my boy just caught the pass. It was wide open in his hands, Barkley.
Keep looking back at one play.
Then why y'all keep looking back at Jalen? Talking about what he did last season with turnovers.
You're offended by criticism of Jalen.
No, Mike, y'all
it's coming out of your pores. You think Jalen is being put upon, and that's fine if that's the way you think.
Well, how can you not when you're looking at Jalen's record?
I'm looking at the whole thing. Do you hear me? Do you hear me?
Keep saying
y'all this, y'all that. David, stop for a second. Have you heard me criticize the head coach ad nauseum? Have you heard me criticize the offensive coordinator? I'm not putting it all on Jalen. I'm saying you have to coach Jalen to what his strengths are, David.
His strengths is let me have an offensive coordinator for at least 2 seasons.
Listen, you're pro Jalen. I get it. There's no disguising the fact that you're pro Jalen. You think he's being put upon. I'm not just blaming it totally on Jalen. Bill is doing that more than I am. What I'm saying is this is what he is. That Kellen Moore comes in, and you can't do a lot of things with Jalen for whatever reason. So I'm saying, okay, it's up to Kellen Moore now to do what Jalen does best. That's all I'm saying. I'm not criticizing Jalen. If he can't do certain things, it's not his strength, that's fine. You're stuck with him. You got to figure out how to coach him. So if you want to coach him the best way, you exemplify all his strengths. I'm blaming everybody here. I'm not just blaming Jalen.
Yeah, I agreed with the caller to an extent that because I don't think
he had an agenda.
Yeah, but his worries about Jalen is Jalen does deserve to be criticized. I mean, the turnovers are an issue, and people compare him to other quarterbacks, but
you can't bring Mahomes into this equation. Well, he's going to get Mahomes turn. Mahomes has been an accomplished player in this league for a really long time. He's probably going to go down in history as one of the top 5 quarterbacks ever. Right? You're going to say, well, Mahomes is strong. No, Jalen is not as good as Mahomes. All right? So you got to try to make the best out of him.
You also have to look at Mahomes throws more touchdowns than Jalen throws as well. So you're comparing apples and oranges when you say, well, Jalen has just as many interceptions as this person or that person. They're a different type of quarterback. So Mahomes is going to win games with his arm. Kirk Cousins is going to win games with his arm. Jalen doesn't as much. And when he's also running the football, you factor in the fumbles. And fumbles, there's a lot of luck involved on whether or not you lose a fumble or not. The guy puts the ball on the ground too much.
Listen, I'm not a Kirk Cousins fan. The question was, would you be able to do more with Kirk Cousins under this offensive coordinator? You probably would be. You probably could.
More similar than what he had with Dak.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
am I saying that I'd rather have Kirk Cousins over Jalen Hurts? No, I'm not. I'm not saying that.
But the caller, I agreed with some of his points. When you look at the team, and he's saying this team is not as bad as you're making them out to be. They are up there with some of the better teams.
That's flimsy.
But look at who they've played.
It's a flimsy rationale.
But look back at who they've played.
Okay.
All right? The Green Bay Packers are 4-2.
Yeah.
The Atlanta Falcons are 4-2. The Tampa Bay Bucks are 4-2. The New Orleans Saints, who look terrible now, were not terrible when they played them. They were on a high coming off. They beat Dallas. They looked really good. They were putting up all these points. They beat the New Orleans Saints. Yeah, a lot of people wanted to see them blow out the Browns. So did I. But the Browns' defense wasn't that bad. There were a lot of positives in that game as well. It's just when we look back at the first 5 games, they've played really good teams. There's a lot of travel, back-to-back road games, Brazil, injuries, no AJ, no Lane, no Devontae. So it's like we can't just overreact. Yeah, it hasn't been as good as we want, but it's also not as bad as people are making it out to be. And if they don't start to get better, this is the reverse of what you had last year. Last year you had the gauntlet. Well, now you got the Browns, the Giants, the Bengals, the Jags. This is where you get things right.
I get it. I get it. But I think you're giving them too much credit. Oh, they did this despite that. Oh, they did this because they went to Brazil. Oh, they did this because that. Here's what I saw. They had a bye. They came out of the bye against a bad team. They punted twice. That's what I look at. I go, what, are you prepared to play this game? Are you prepared to beat a bad football team? Then come up with a game plan that beats a bad football team. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. The first quarters, there's no excuse. When you're game planning and you're putting together these scripted plays, but it's not just Sirianni. That's not just the head coach. Your offensive coordinator's involved in scripting plays. Jeff Stoutland's involved in scripting plays. You know, they're game planning together, so everybody needs to share in the blame on offense.
The head coach is now 8 minutes late.
I don't like tardiness
for his scheduled time.
Every time, man.
This is going to mess us up. See, in radio, we have time cues that we have to hit. And, we have to get top of the hour. We have to do all the IDs and all that stuff. This is all legal FCC stuff that we're required to do. So this messes us up, but why would he care about messing us up since I'm criticizing the hell out of him right now. So,
well, you said a couple weeks ago you would be late on purpose if it was you. You said you would do this to mess with people. You said that, didn't you?
If I had some clout to do it. Like if I was on top of the world, I would.
Yeah, I don't understand.
If I'm not on top of the world, right, especially for right now, I might want to be prompt for my presser.
Yeah, I'll say it. Fireable offense.
It's a fireable.
Well, I honestly hate tardiness in general. Like not just this.
I don't like tardiness.
In general, it is rude and disrespectful if you tell someone you're going to be somewhere at a certain time and you're late.
This is your boy.
Yeah, no, I'm going to turn on Nick if this continues. Because he's messing us up now.
In your illustrious dating history and relationship history, how did you feel about dates that were late?
Unacceptable. Like, really. You got to be on time, especially if it's a date for dinner. I'm talking if it's a date, if it's a friend that you're meeting, family members, if they show up late. See, I revolve my entire day about what time I'm eating. So if I'm going to eat at 6 and you show up at 6:20, 6:30, it's just rude and disrespectful. See, I feel like Ray appreciates being on time. Well, I feel like Mike appreciates being on time.
I do. Ray is in the dating scene now. So Ray, like this is like the ultimate. I in my experience, there have been a lot of ladies that don't understand the time restrictions of going to a movie. Oh, all right. We'll continue that after this. Here's Nick Sirianni.
But had practice. When you're practicing hard and practicing, to get better. Things happen at times.
Why'd you go with pads on Wednesday?
That's a normal day for us for pads. We did it, but that is a good question, Jeff, because we did it on Thursday, early in the year, and it's just just always trying to think of ways that we can make the guys as healthy as possible and also as ready as possible. And so it was just a decision that we made and that I had to make to move it back, to Wednesday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Did Slay have some sort of a setback with the knee?
Again, we'll get you that information again, and so I'm hoping all these guys are ready to go, but we'll see as it goes. And today's going to tell a lot.
A couple of the guys, Nick, had talked about the need to get the playoff sooner in the play clock. I know that there's different responsibilities there, but when it comes to the quarterback, what's his responsibility to ensure that you guys are doing that?
It takes everybody, right? It takes the call, from Kellen. It takes me talking about the game management scenario, in plays prior to that. It takes the personnel guys, it's Jason Michael, Aaron Moorhead, Jamal Singleton, and getting the personnel in. Those personnel guys coming in and communicating so we get the right guys in the huddle. It takes Jalen calling the play. It takes getting up to the line, getting up to the line of scrimmage. It takes whether it's a motion or a shift. And then it takes into account like everyone having to make the call beforehand. So I guess I would kind of explain to you everybody's role there. And then there's times it takes a check, right? And so we're constantly working on that. We have a clock at practice that's actually below 40 seconds. That's at 35 seconds to put the pressure on us to be able to do that. But, we're always thinking about our operation, talking about our operation. And, we want to, again, there's times, I think it's kind of like there's times you want the operation to be really fast. There's certain points in the game you want to snap it at 1. There's certain points in the game you want to snap it at 5, 8. 12, all depending on the scenario, but it truly takes everybody to be on the same page and everybody working in unison for that operation to be smooth and clean.
Would you feel like the different tackling drills last week helped against the Browns, and where did that idea come from where you changed it up?
Yeah, again, everything is always on the docket, right? Whether it's what time you practice, whether it's pads or not pads, of everything you can do to get better. And my job is to, think about, hey, this area hasn't been good enough. How do we get better at this? And so, with the help of the defensive coaches, you look at the tackles that you've missed. What is the common thread? We did something a little bit different that wasn't a drill this week when we had pads on. With the way we wrapped and different things like that. And so there's a lot of different things that go into it. I think I have a big part of it when I'm in front of the team every day, pointing out the tackles that are done properly and pointing out the tackles that we feel like we would have missed if it was in a game. So a lot goes into that. And I think, a lot of credit to the defensive coaches of being creative, coming up with different ideas of things they've done in the past or making up new things. To simulate the things that you're trying to simulate in a game. Now, it's different. Like there's times where there's the best coaching point you have for a tackle is come down with a body part. Obviously, you can't do that. You can't simulate that, but you can simulate the approach. You can simulate the wrap, you can simulate a lot of different things. And again, that was just a full team effort, and we got to, you're only as good as your last game. So, we want to make sure that we're a fundamentally sound team. That's a big part of who we are and what we want to be.
With all the factors you listed on getting a playoff, which of the factors has most frequently taken too much time?
Yeah, I'm not going to answer that. I mean, it's a different. I'll answer it, but it's different for every. If there's a play clock that's going down, there's different reasons for it, each individual one. Yeah.
Wonder if there was a trend. Just wonder if there was a trend.
That's a good question. Yeah.
I think there's been a lot of talk about from analysts, like doesn't look like a Kellen Moore offense, or it doesn't look like a Nick Sirianni offense. I'm curious from your perspective, what do you think of that discussion and like labeling a certain offense after a coach specifically?
Yeah, I think that at the end of the day, coaches adapt to the things that their players do well and try to put them in maximize their potential. I think that's been the thought of us since we've gotten here is how do we maximize, okay, well, we've never run play A to AJ before, but man, AJ had a lot of success at that at Tennessee. We need to start running that more. I mean, that was when we got AJ, there was a couple plays that we've implemented into our offense that have been highly successful without getting too much into it of what that play is. And I think that's the same thing who your right guard is. Makai's new at right guard, different than Cam at right guard, and who's your center, and then who's your tight end. Because everybody has skill sets, right? And nobody's skill sets are exactly the same. And so again, you do what you like, and that's defensively too. You do what your players can excel at. That doesn't mean you don't dabble in new things that because we got very talented players, so we have a lot of confidence that they can do a lot of different things. But that doesn't mean you don't dabble into other things. But you really try to focus on the things that and guys do well and what they can do. And what they do well. And so and that kind of takes its life as the season continues on because you start to feel a little different about how things are going and, and get a better feel for how they're doing this year because that player's skill set changes year in, year out, right? And so there's a lot that goes into that. Again, I think that's the sign of, coaching is figuring that out, and that's a big part of it.
We'll do two more.
How do you like the way he's kind of settled in at right guard and as far as the decision whether to move him to left tackle and everything?
Yeah, good question. I think Makai's done a really nice job. I'm really pleased that that we have him. A great job to Howie and his staff of getting Makai in this building, and Makai's done a nice job next to Lane on the line of scrimmage. We'll see where he has to go this week. But he's a big man inside at guard. We had pass rush drill the other day, and what a battle between him and Jalen Carter. And you're watching it, and you're like, this is how you get better, right? Is iron sharpening iron, good player against good player. And he's so long in there as a guard. And then there's about 3 or 4 blocks I see a game of the movement that happens on a 3 technique between Lane and Makai, and that happens at practice a lot. I mean, Makai's a big, powerful man, and I can't say enough good things about how Makai's done since he's gotten here, and Coach Stout and all the things that he's done to help him, and all the things and then I go sit in an offensive line meeting the other day. And I'm sitting in there, and Makai has a rep, and then, Coach Stout starts to talk, gives his coaching point, and then Landon has a coaching point. That's unbelievable, to help. That is a sign of a good, team coming together of all these little things, all these little steps. And so I was really impressed by that when, Landon offered up a coaching point and Makai looking over at him, and, that's impressive to me.
All right, we'll cut it there.
Wow. Yeah, very informational presser.
I don't like tardiness.
Nothing to really make fun of. I'm disarmed.
He has been subdued. He was definitely spoken to, no doubt.
All right, let's take a break. 610-632-0975. Coming up, news at noon. We got our picks coming up this hour. Football talk, other talk. I have an interesting dilemma that involves neighbors and whether you've ever had problem with your neighbors.
Not Malik neighbors.
No, in general neighbors. Because the story's been going around the internet like wildfire. It's the Mike Missanelli Show. Back after this. 7.
I don't like tardiness.
Because Sirianni made us late.
I don't like tardiness.
So, and he doesn't care. But this is the Mike Missanelli Show, and it's the 12 o'clock hour, and it's a football Friday. So at, I guess, about 20 minutes or so, we will be getting into our picks of the week with Kevin Todd, our prognosticating expert.
I'm sure I'll come back down to earth.
You're hot.
I'm 15-3 this year.
That's amazing. If people have been playing, they've been very wealthy.
I don't know how I'm doing it. I mean, I'm sure I'll go on a dry spell, but yeah, 15-3 somehow.
You start patting yourself on the back, right? What happens?
Yep.
No, exactly
right.
why I've been picking them wrong to start the season.
Yeah. And I've given up.
It's not how you start, it's how you finish.
Yeah, my NFL picks have been crap. My college picks are solid, but nobody can really relate to my college picks because they're all about the NFL. Not even Bill, who doesn't watch college football.
You taking Wisconsin this weekend?
College football, doesn't watch college football.
Yeah, I don't enjoy college.
It's astounding to me.
I don't enjoy watching the college games as much as I do the pro game. I don't know why.
There are a couple college specials I like this weekend.
Wisconsin over Penn State.
No, that's
missed field goals for Penn State.
They play next week.
Yeah, I know. It's next weekend.
No, I like...
Penn State's off this week?
Yeah, they have a bye, conveniently. Coming off a high of the USC game, they have a bye, and they have to play Wisconsin. They go to Wisconsin. Normally, if it was a back-to-back game, I might like Wisconsin to pull that upset, but not now.
Was Wisconsin, Ohio State, Washington? No, it's Washington.
I'll tell you what, I want to make an offer to Penn State people out there who love me. So, if you got tickets to that game in Wisconsin, I would love to go there. I would fly out there after our show Friday to Madison just to sit in that stadium and be a Penn State fan. I like being a Penn State fan in an enemy stadium.
Now, you'll wear Penn State gear.
No, I don't, I'm not a gear man.
You're not. That's why I'm wondering.
No, I don't wear gear. I would just like, I'd root for them in enemy territory.
Would you cheer obnoxiously?
Well, it all depends on the circumstance. The last time I did that was at the Big House because my dentist got tickets in Ann Arbor for that game in '94, which was the last when Penn State really should have won a national championship. That may have been their best team ever with Kerry Collins and Kajana Carter.
Oh, Kajana Carter.
Kyle Brady and wide receivers that all played in the NFL. So we sat right in the middle of the Michigan section. Now, come on. I mean, Penn State is taking Michigan apart in their own stadium. And Michigan was nationally ranked that year as well. How could you not get caught up in that?
Yeah, so you're a little obnoxious.
Yeah, I was.
That's the last time you went on the road for a Penn State game?
Yeah.
I think you need to get out to Wisconsin.
Yeah, I would like to go to Wisconsin. It's
probably cold as hell.
I don't follow them. Like, I'm not a rabid enough fan to go, like, on trips to Ohio State or whatever. Because normally I think they're going to lose those games.
Well, I thought it would be cold in Wisconsin. It's only 52 right now.
Yeah, like right now would be a good time. Next Saturday, you never know because that weather can turn. But if there's a Penn State benefactor out there who has access to tickets,
I think I'm going to tweet it out. Important.
You should tweet it out.
Mike Missanelli, big fan of winning over USC.
I would love to go.
Let's raise some funds.
I think it's a violation right now. Because Mike was not happy that they were raising money for a 36-yard field goal, but he wants free tickets to the game?
My Penn State podcast is going to pay for him to go.
I would pay for the tickets, actually.
So why don't you just buy them? They got to be available somewhere.
Yeah, maybe.
Should we do the show from Wisconsin on Friday, get there a little early? Ray, can we make that happen?
I'll be back here pushing the buttons. You guys go to Wisconsin, enjoy it. I'll be back here.
Ray's all excited because Temple's a favorite this weekend.
Hey,
no,
man.
they're not. Where are they playing?
They are.
Golden Hurricane, man.
They're playing Tulsa. They're a 3-point favorite. It went from a pick 'em to Temple. People are betting Temple.
You know what could be a problem for the Temple football team? I may be able to solve all their issues. It's not that it's in North Philadelphia. It's that they've never had good uniforms. Their logos is hideous.
Yeah, you're right. They don't.
Your team is called the Bullets.
I don't know.
Shut up.
I don't know why they have those stripes down the.
They've always had ugly
arms.
uniforms.
Yeah,
Stop
you're
it.
right. Now they have
Give
a
me a break.
The block tee is not a bad tee, but they should really be like all red.
Like I get the block tee, but they could make
cherry,
it. They could make it cooler. The uniform.
I agree. The uniforms, they got those stripes on the side like they're like it's prison garb.
Oh,
Yeah.
stop it.
It's a terrible uni.
It's truth, right? 610-632-0975. We're coming back with your calls and your texts after this.
Ricky Vitalico.
Sirianni threw us off guard. It is now time for the news at noon.
There's a whole lot going on in this world. It's time to catch up. Here's the news at noon. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Ray Dunn has 3 tremendous stories for his news at noon. What do we have today, Ray?
Wow, high billing for what we got today. All right, let's start out with some hoops and our Fan Fest guest. I know you've loved the Andre Drummond tour of talking about how he's the best rebounder to live. You have enjoyed it so much, so I want to bring it to your attention, bring it to the forefront as he continues the lore of what he is as a rebounder and why he is that way.
So I was like, you know what? I asked one of my boys to say, yo, who's leading the NBA in rebounding right now? So it's Dwight Howard. I think he averaged like 12.3. So I'm like, I'm currently averaging 8.9 as a rookie. I can beat that mother. Yeah, 100%. For sure. I can beat that. So after I realized how like not sexy rebounding was, I said, that's it. I'm going to be the best rebounder to ever play this game. Yeah. So then I set out to do it.
How many years running did you have the crown?
4 years. And I almost got it coming off the bench.
Sheesh. That's crazy. Nah, bro. It was getting sick. It was getting.
Oh, it's coming back. Don't worry.
No, I already know. It was getting.
It was like the 2020 games, like consistent. I was like,
in 2020. Let's go ahead and I'm gonna call a spade a spade. Were there times you would miss some shots on purpose to get the rebound?
Yeah.
I knew it.
You know, if you're such a great rebounder, and I would think you could score that deep. If you can get that deep, you can probably score that deep. So maybe I wouldn't restrict my game to just trying to be the best rebounder of all time. I think it's admirable that he expounds energy to rebound. I don't know that he's the best rebounder of all time.
See, now, and you talk about if you could rebound, you should score.
Yeah.
I'd rather you be a really good defender. Like, I mean, Rodman couldn't score, but he could play defense and he could rebound.
Yeah, why can't you do both?
For all 3, you mean?
Yeah, why can't you score? If you're that bulky and you can get it that close to get rebounds, then why can't you score? Why can't you power up and score as well? To be a starting center in the league.
I've enjoyed the 3-point attempts in the preseason.
Yeah.
It's been fun to see him try to expand the range.
Yeah, I get it, but like in the low post, if you can rebound the ball, I would think that maybe you can score. I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
Might just.
I don't dislike Andre Drummond. I think
it's great.
It's a little
backup center.
It's a little bit much that he's saying he's best rebounder of all time.
Yeah. Go look at those per 36.
Yeah. Okay. Next.
All right, let's go to college football. Travis Hunter gunning for that Heisman and has already started his campaign and knows exactly who the competition is.
I mean, y'all see Ashton Genty, but it's not like we haven't seen a running back that's good. All right. We haven't seen a player that plays both ways, and I'm going to keep saying that. It's like he have 95 carries?
Yeah.
For 1,000
yards, yeah.
If I had 95 catches, how much yards you think I have?
Because that's how that works.
I don't know, Travis. You're not trained really as a running back, though. You know, this dude jump cuts and slithers in there and knows how to run the football. There's Ashton Genty.
Well, he says 95 catches, right? He's comparing catches to carries, right?
He said if I had 95 catches, how many yards would I have?
So that's where he's wrong. You can't compare the two.
Yeah, you can't get 95 catches.
But I don't think he's wrong in saying he deserves it because he plays both ways. I mean, that is pretty damn impressive. I think he should win the Heisman.
I think he definitely has to be a cornerback in the league. I think that's a more valuable position for him.
It'll be interesting. Him
not going to play both ways in the NFL.
Him and Sanders are eligible for the draft this year, right? Both?
Yeah, well, they'll both be drafted pretty high.
Yeah, they will.
All right, next.
All right, and finally, we got some preseason hoops for you. We're going back to hoops for you. Kevin Harlan, one of my favorites, had a little bit of a problem. He thought the entire broadcast was off the air at some point, but he kept going as a pro here because Devin Booker went diving to get a loose ball, and this happened.
Saved by the Suns, the Huskies here. I have spilled stuff all over my notes. How am I going to do this game, Devin? Thank you, D'Lo. You're a good man. Listen, I know it. I know. The notes are ruined. The notes are ruined. The whole thing is messed up.
That's why it's an exhibition game, partner.
Yeah, thanks. Oh, my gosh. I don't even know what this is.
Got to make sure Book is okay.
Here, throw this thing away. That's unhooked now. We're probably off the air.
Book took a shot to the head. His head is what hit the monitor. Yeah, he's walking this off right now because his head went first into this monitor. Look.
So what do you do? Knock over something?
So Booker went head first right into the monitor, knocked over his cup, all over the notes. Something came unhooked, and for a second there, I assume, as someone that's experienced it, the thing went out in the headsets. You're like, oh, am I off the air at this point? But he kept going. So props to Kevin Harlan for keeping that going. They were on there the
What
whole
did you
time.
knock over? What do you have, soda there?
I think he had a cup of water.
That's pretty dangerous anyway, isn't it? When you get guys flying, you're at courtside, these guys are flying at you.
Yeah, if you need water, though. I mean, I feel his pain. If someone spilled on my pads, you know how much I like my legal pads. I'd be very upset.
Yeah, look at you.
You just couldn't use the word
You got
notes.
a notebook. It's all.
I got my tabs.
You got the tab.
I love my notes, man. Love my yellow legal pads.
That's awesome. You're a very organized man.
So when I spilled the other day, thankfully it only blew out the system, not my notes. We went off the air, but my notes were safe.
Is that this weekend? That's going to be on Saturday mornings for his spill? Bill Colarulo's spill is going to be on national TV? Because that was the day they were in here filming.
Yeah, it was when CBS was here filming you.
Oh, really? They got it on?
I don't know if they got it. Remember, he was in here filming you for that special.
That's right.
And I
wonder if they'll cut that in the editing room.
I had to go sit in another chair.
On that note, I'm glad you brought that up because I've talked about this before. CBS Saturday morning, the anchor is Dana Jacobson on that show. It's a national show, and they're doing a piece on this podcast that I'm doing, and hence doing a piece on me. And they had me in my whole hometown filming. The date for that will be October 26th, Saturday morning, October 26th.
Next Saturday.
Next Saturday.
That's next
Bill
Saturday.
Spilling will be on national TV.
That piece will run.
The coolest thing was they had Mike running down the street in Bristol, and it was like Rocky II. Everybody was behind him. It was a pretty cool scene that they're going to end with that.
No, everybody wasn't behind me. Pucker going, what? So what's going on here? What's up with this? So one guy did go by and toot.
And yell at you?
Make him miss.
Making Bristol proud, Mike.
Oh, well. Yeah, I'm the caboose man for Bristol. All right, quickly, let's get Tom in Alabama in here. Tom's been hungry for a while. Tom, what's up in Alabama?
Not much, Miz. What's going on, my friend?
How you doing?
All right. Yo, Bill, how you doing, man?
Tommy.
Hey, and I got to be honest with you, Miz. You're lucky to have Bill over there, man. Bill knows the deal. Bill's a perfectionist. Bill's not about the money. He's there because he wants to be, and he's about the passion, and he's my boy, and he's going to be the big time before it's over with.
My man, Tom. I appreciate you.
Call.
I appreciate Tom from Alabama.
I mean, look, he's already hanging with the Miz, one of the greatest of all time, anywhere, anytime.
It is surreal, Tom.
I know.
It is surreal.
5 years from now when he's a star and I'll be in a rocking chair.
Hey, real quick, I want to give a shout-out to the greatest, the toughest, the answer, number 3, Georgetown, Allen Iverson. You know, we got to get a championship in this city, man. And I have to say, after hearing Sirianni, probably somebody spoke to him, probably his wife more than likely, especially if he's married to an Italian girl, because he was very subdued today, the most I've ever heard him, and he actually sounded like he had some sense. So we just need to go win a football game.
There you go. He's calming down. He's calming down. And everybody, now he's a leader. Is he married to an Italian girl? I don't think he is.
I don't know.
His kids are blondish, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, it could be a little Northern Italian.
I don't think he's married to an Italian.
You would know. Bill,
Yeah,
the family reunions.
I can't remember last Thanksgiving when I was over there.
I say.
That's a joke. Oh, let me see.
I don't think she'd be.
She doesn't have an Italian last name.
No. It doesn't, The kids are, I can tell.
Yeah,
Wasn't she a Kansas City girl? Didn't he meet her out in Kansas City?
Yeah, she's,
correct.
Somewhere on the plains, he met her.
Yeah, Brett.
There ain't no Italians on the
How
plains.
do I know your cousin better than you do?
Her name is Brett. They met when he was working for the
Ain't
Chiefs.
no Italians named Brett.
Yeah, she's not Italian.
They're all Marie.
Sirianni, though, does have that fiery personality that sometimes Italians get accused of having.
Yeah, maybe she calms him down. Maybe she's the exact opposite that calms him down. That's why they're a good match.
It's possible.
Ain't no Italians tending wheat out there. 610-632-0975. Kevin Todd up next with our fearless selections. Don't go anywhere. 3, it is the Mike Missanelli Show, and it is time to make some selections that you can hopefully make money on. The man, the legend, who joins us every Friday with his picks, Kevin Todd. Kevin, what's up?
How are you guys?
Doing fantastic. First of all, how can people get access to your wonderful selections?
First of all, I want to let everybody know right now that I have my Friday night college parlay of the year, and I'm giving it away for $10, folks. It's a $2,500 value, because if I don't win this parlay tonight for you, I'm going to give you all my selections all the way through Thanksgiving absolutely free on me. I have to win my Friday night college parlay of the year. It's only $10. You give me a call right now at 888-320-7517. That's 888-320-7517. Or go to my website, thesportsbrokers.com. A rep will call you back if you put your name and number. Like I said, folks, it's a $2,500 value if I lose my Friday night college parlay of the year, and it's only $10.
Wow. All right. Well, that sounds like a good value. So let's get into this right now. First thing we look at with Kevin is the Eagles and the Giants. It's a small line, I think, and I think the Eagles really should cover this line, but somehow that line is creeping me out a little. How do you see this Eagles-Giants game?
Well, to be honest, Mike, I really don't trust the Eagles the way they blew that game last week, I should say. I don't know what Saquon Barkley was thinking. He ran out of bounds with 3 timeouts. All he had to do was turn up the field. He gets the first down, and who knows what could have happened. They could have scored a touchdown. Instead, they get the field goal block. It's tied at halftime. But I'm going to look at this game. This total opened up at 45. It's now down to 43.5. Listen, the Giants are legit on defense, and I think the Eagles are also going to be able to hold the Giants' offense in check. And let me tell you right now, I love the under in this game for many reasons. First of all, the Giants, they're 0-7 to the under before a Monday night game. They're 2-11 their last 13 to the under in division home games. Also, the Eagles, they're 0-4 in their first of back-to-back road games, and they're 1-4 to the under after playing Cleveland. Guys, I don't know where much of the scoring is going to come. I like the under 43.5 here.
All right, you're going under, and you also think this could be a tussle for the Eagles to win?
I don't think it's going to be a tussle for them to win. I think they should win the game, but I like the under more because I just don't trust them. I mean, listen, did you see how Barkley could have costed you guys 2 games? I just don't trust the way they are right now. I just think it's going to be a struggle offensively for both teams. Eagles will probably win the game, but I think the under is a stronger play.
All right, so that's one of your plays for this week of your 2. What is your second pick against us?
Okay, my second pick goes right to college football, guys. And let me tell you right now, I absolutely like this game a lot. It's Cincinnati at home. They're minus the 4.5 points, depending where you can get right now. They're playing Arizona State. Now, I understand Arizona State, they came off a bye last week, but they had a huge revenge game where they had lost last year, I believe, to Utah 55-3, and they beat them at home 2 weeks ago. Now they're going on the road to a Cincinnati team, which a lot of people thought were going to be like last in their division. But let me tell you right now, they are unbelievable the way they're playing. They've only allowed 2 rushing touchdowns all season. Not only that, the only loss that Arizona State has was to a Texas Tech team that ranks 28th in the country in passing. But now they're going up against a Cincinnati team that ranks 27th in the country in passing. The fact that they're going from the West Coast to the East Coast, and not only that, gentlemen, they're playing with their backup quarterback because the starting quarterback for Arizona State got hurt. He has never taken a rep at all till this week practicing with the first team. I like Cincinnati in this matchup, lay the 4.5 at home to get an easy victory over Arizona State.
All right, and that line is going up in Cincinnati's favor, by the way. All right, so
what is it right now? Do you have any idea?
I thought it was. I saw 6.
Oh, really? I saw 4.5.
Yeah, 4.5
yesterday.
on FanDuel right
Okay,
now.
all right, yeah.
Okay.
All right, so I kind of like that myself. All right, so Bill, start with your 2 picks. His are under Eagles-Giants, and he's going to take Cincy over Arizona State.
All right, I'm going to the NFL. You got the Atlanta Falcons at home against the Seattle Seahawks. 2 teams going in complete different directions. The Falcons have won 3 in a row. The Seahawks have lost 3 in a row. I'm taking the Falcons -3. I think they cover that easily. Oh, you need my second pick, too. We're going 2 picks. And we got to get the updated score.
Did we start doing 2 picks all of a sudden?
No,
We've always
we're
been
doing
doing 2 picks. I go 2, you
we
go
always
2.
done 2.
He had Bill moment.
Sorry, I got so excited about my first pick.
Go ahead.
All right, next one up. I'm taking the Detroit Lions +1.5 at Minnesota. I know the Vikings are 5-0. They're coming off of a bye. But this is why teams aren't undefeated in the NFL. They will lose their first game. I'm taking the Lions +1.5.
Oh, I'm going the other side of that. I love when you pick against me. So my 2, and I'll stay with that game. This game has changed. The Vikings are -1.5 now against the Lions, and they were getting 3. So there's some money coming in on the Vikings, and I'm buying it. I'll take the Vikings now as a favorite -1.5. Lions coming off a big win. I think the Vikings are a prime spot. Now, I'm going to take one college selection as well. The Indiana Hoosiers. Good squad, but there's a lot of hype in Nebraska. Oh, they're in trouble now. Nebraska's going to come to town. And yet the line is going up from 3.5 to Indiana -6.5. The Hoosiers have a squad. They're going to take Matt Rule down this week. I'm taking Indiana football as my second selection, as well as the Vikings. All right, now we got one bonus game for you. Kevin Todd. Kevin, again, the number to get in touch with you is what?
888-320-7517. Folks, listen up. I have my Friday night college parlay of the year, and it's yours for only $10. I absolutely love 2 games today, folks. If I lose this parlay, you get all my selections through Thanksgiving absolutely free. That's a $2,500 value, folks. Pick up the phone right now. Dial 888-320-7517. That's 888-320-7517. You get my Friday night college parlay of the year for only $10. And as my bonus game, gentlemen, you want to know the winner between one of the biggest games on the board. That's San Francisco, Kansas City.
That's correct.
Now, if you look at this game, Kansas City has beaten San Francisco 4 straight times. Other than one game, gentlemen, San Francisco has basically had the lead in every game. If it wasn't for Christian McCaffrey fumbling the ball in the Super Bowl, who knows? And they do have the best football player on the planet on their team with Patrick Mahomes, but he is not playing well this year. He has 6 TDs, he has 6 interceptions, and let's face it, they could have easily lost to Buffalo, they could have easily lost to Cincinnati, and they could have easily lost to Atlanta, this team. This game, I believe, means more to San Francisco than Kansas City. They're playing at home. I think they even have more weapons, believe it or not, San Francisco right now, to all the injuries that Kansas City has right now, and Kelsey's not playing the same way he has been. This is the chance where I believe San Francisco needs to take advantage of the situation. They're only laying a small number. I think they could win this game. I like the score to be 27-20, 27-23. I'm taking San Francisco here.
I kind of like that as well. When's the last time the Chiefs were an underdog in a regular season game?
I don't know, but I know the Chiefs as an underdog. I looked this up. I think the Chiefs are 11-1 their last 12 since Patrick Mahomes has been playing football as an underdog, and I'm going against that trend.
All right, there you do. There you have it. He's Kevin Todd. Again, the number, Kevin.
888-320-7517. That's 888-320-7517. You get my Friday night parlay of the year for $10, folks. If I don't win this game, you get all my selections through Thanksgiving absolutely free, a $2,500 value.
Oh, parlay he's guaranteeing. All right, I like it. Kevin, thank you, sir. We appreciate it.
Gentlemen, I'll speak to you next week. Thank you.
All right, there he is, Kevin Todd. So he likes the under on the Eagles-Giants. Yeah, I don't know if that's it. I like when they go with the side.
It's interesting.
I like the side.
It's interesting that he picked the under, like almost signaling that, wow, the Giants' defense is not that bad. I mean, that sounds a little familiar, Ray. What do we?
You mean to tell me actually
2 hours, 45 minutes into the show, and I've been saying that for 2 days now and getting killed for it.
He went an under. When you look on paper at 2 teams where one has more talent than the other, he went an under for that game because he can't trust the more talented team to be ready and actually go do the thing that they should do on the road. Interesting. Almost like that team that's more talented has a problem.
I wonder if my sarcasm and then your double down sarcasm came through on the airwaves to our listeners here.
It's really an interesting premise that you fear this Giants defense, and like some of the numbers are good. I get it; their sack numbers are really good, but the completion percentage against them is bad, and the highest, they're 26 in the league in rating against their defense. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see what happens.
The way that they tighten down is they get after the quarterback. They have a very good defensive line, and they tighten up in the red zone, being a top 6 red zone defense.
All right, we throw usually one more game in here, the lock of the week, presented by McCausland Lock Services for up to 50% off car keys and remotes. Go to where the dealers go. McCausland Lock Service. All right, what's your lock of the week, Bill, in addition to the 2 we picked against Kevin Todd?
So this one for me almost seems like we're stealing money. This is the lock of the week. Aaron Rodgers, New York Jets. They're desperate. They're 2-4. They just make the trade for Devontae Adams. This is a must-win game if the Jets want to stay in the AFC East race. They're -1.5 at Pittsburgh. That's probably going to start Russell Wilson. I'm taking the Jets to dominate the Steelers. They will certainly cover the 1.5. That's my lock of the week.
My lock of the week, I'm going to go along with Kevin Todd since we brought the big game up. I'm going to take the Niners against the Chiefs. That line is telling me something. That's a Niners line. I think the Chiefs are going to hit a wall in this game. I will take the Niners as my lock of the week, presented by McCausland Lock Services. All right, there.
Ooh, going up, taking a lock against Mahomes, man. That's not an easy pick.
Yeah, they're a dog for a reason. All right, let's get back to the phones. We got Doug in San Francisco. What's up, Doug?
Hey, Mikey. First off, hey, you're my Philly radio goat. So to hear you talk to Angelo like that was really cool to see, like you showing respect and love like that.
Listen, I hope people enjoyed it. I know it's kind of unorthodox that we have Angelo on the show, but and there was so much I could have talked to him about. I could have let him run because I knew he was about to dig into the Phillies. But we try to keep it brief. But I like talking to Angelo about our careers because they overlapped.
I had no idea, and I heard him on your podcast, so that was really cool to hear. Number 2, and I'll get to my Giants point, but number 2, man, I was driving to Tahoe a couple of weeks ago, and like I had you guys in my headphones because my kids were watching a movie. You guys had me in stitches. Like the thing that I figured out that characterizes you guys is the type of burns that you guys have. Mike, you're a very straightforward burn type of guy, right? Like you're like me, and you'll just jaw at people. Bill is the guy who like says something, and then you pause, and then you just bust out laughing. I don't know how you brought this out in Bill, but I was crying because, Mike, you were like, oh, I blocked someone on Twitter, and Bill was like, why? Did someone say that they like Pete Alonso? And I paused for a second. I was dying. And then the thing I figured out is with Ray, is that's the guy you don't want to mess with because I think Ray practices in front of a mirror at home how he's going to destroy someone. And then when that opportunity comes, it just happens, and you're just like, oh, my God, he just said that. So
I could see that with Ray.
Yeah.
Like he goes home in his full-length mirror. It's like, I know Bill's going to say this tomorw.
Yeah.
Full-length mirror. You think I'm checking myself out in a full-length mirror?
Yeah, right.
Tight shirts.
Right. He's like a thin sheet of ice that you know is going to crack when Bill says something crazy.
100%.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So one thing about the Giants, and this is I'll leave you with this. I think we win by like some weird score by 2, and I think it's like a nail biter, which means that it says absolutely nothing. We're not going to know anything about this team again for another week, like whether we're trending in the right direction or if we really stink. I think it's going to be one of those games just because the ineptitude of the Eagles' offense paired with like the Giants. I don't know. I guess their defense is okay, but just all that combined, I feel like we're not going to know another thing, and we're going to do this for like another couple of weeks.
Yeah, he may not be wrong. Yeah, Doug, you may not be wrong. I don't know if people are going to feel that great after this game, and that's why I'm trying to tell people, to warn them, this Giants team is not a Giants team of the past. Yes, they're 2-4, but there are things that are good with this team. Now, I will be frustrated if the Eagles' defense allows Daniel Jones and that Giants offense to score a lot of points. That should not happen. But if the offense doesn't look dominant again, which a lot of fans want to see, I'm not going to be surprised by it. You're missing your best well, not your best, but you're missing your left tackle, which could be a big deal against this team. And you're going up against a team that gets after the quarterback and causes problems, and you're in a tough environment. MetLife Stadium, it's not the easiest place to play. It's just, I'm with him in that don't expect this offense to dominate a good Giants defense. But I do think they should win this game. And if they don't win the game, it's going to get ugly. It will. It will get ugly if they lose to the New York Giants.
It would be such a hole they'd have to climb out of if they lost to the Giants. And in retrospect, they would only be 3-3. But, like, coming off, like, not dominating the Browns and then losing to the Giants would have a really detrimental effect on this fan base.
We'd have to be patient, It'd be coming.
No, the patience may be out the window if they lost to the New York Giants.
Yeah.
Because the offense, Daniel Jones is still Daniel Jones. I mean, I'm giving you all the numbers for the defense, the Giants' defense. The offense is terrible. I mean, they're 29th in the NFL in points.
You've seen him do it again. Like, he'll bust like a 35-yard run, which will be in a very important play. It might even be for a touchdown.
Now,
because he's been known to do that.
Come on. It's early on in the season. A new defensive coordinator, Darius Slay, might not play. Like, if they don't live up to their expectations, what we have this week against Daniel Jones, we should probably tone it down a little bit. It's a long season.
People don't know you're patronizing me right now.
I'm not. No.
He's patronizing.
You know what? You've won me over.
Yeah. He is patronizing.
Right, it's sarcastic.
Yeah, he is. But the Giants' offense is only averaging 16 points a game. They're not able to score. So that's why I don't think the Eagles are putting up more than 30. So I think it's going to be a lower scoring game. Are we giving our predictions yet? Or are we saving that?
No, we're saving it.
So I'll give you my prediction.
Save it for the end.
But I agree with our prognosticator from earlier that the under is probably a good play in this game.
Yeah. By the way, I got a lot of inquiries. Like when we had Angelo on, they go, "Well, you really didn't tell us how you actually got to the full-time radio gig. You just said that you guys were all pulled there." Well, here's what happened. I was doing weekends on Sports Talk Radio, and the unwanted Kiss Man went to TV full-time. So they had that slot open. And can you imagine somebody put that lizard face on television?
I was going to say so. So are you thanking him right now?
No. I'm just saying that's how the spot was open. And out of the blue, they go, "We'd like to put you on Evening Drive with Steve Fredericks," and I go, "Why?" Like it came out of nowhere. So that's how it actually got that slot.
And that was the S&M show.
That's correct.
Everybody loved that show.
And this is how you could get away with stuff because they had keychains made up with an S&M stiletto heel. Like they were, you could never do that anymore.
I think our friend Johnny Mark still has the keychain.
Does he has that? If anybody has that, that's a collector's item.
I think he said he still has that old keychain.
Really? Yeah. Oh, all right. Let's take a break. 610-632-0975. We roll into the 1 o'clock hour. Tim McManus is coming up with his outlook of the Eagles at the Giants on Sunday. Back after this. o'clock in the Delaware Valley. It's the Mike Missanelli Show. 1 o'clock hours brought to you by Ferguson HVAC, Lyon Conklin. Pension HVAC contractors for equipment, parts, and supplies for every heating and cooling job. Visit one of Ferguson's count locations. Ben Salem, King of Prussia, Pennsauken, or Westchester. The man who covers the Eagles for ESPN.com. Joining us on a football Friday. He's on the Comcast Business Hotline. His name is Tim McManus. Hello, Timmy.
What's up, Mike? How you doing?
Well, Tim, I got to tell you, I got a dilemma here. And I'm not sure how I'm supposed to feel about this team. And it seems like in doing Football Friday today, there seems to be a drag on the fan base with the same concept as to what this team really is. So I know you're seeing this. We're not, like, pumped up about – and here they play it in Giants, a team they should demolish, and yet they're a slight favorite. Tell me what this team is right now, please.
Well, why do you think they should demolish them?
I don't know, because I look at the Giants and I go, okay, they weren't supposed to be a good team. The Eagles were supposed to be a much better team. And here we are. We struggled against the Browns last week. Now you're going to go up there and it's a very short line, indicating this could be a close game as well. So maybe I'm overvaluing the Eagles.
Well, I think so. And it's really easy to do that because we look at the roster on paper, and it's on offense spectacular. But we know it hasn't been that way on either side of the ball. We know that the Eagles have yet to score a point in the first quarter through 5 games. We know that Jalen Hurts has turned the ball over since the start of 2023 more than any other player in the entire NFL. We know that the defense has 2 takeaways on the season, dead last in the league. The top team has 17 takeaways so far. The Green Bay Packers, the Eagles have 2. So while it's easy to get lured into the talent on this roster, the Eagles have shown us now over a period of essentially almost a full season dating back to last year what they are. And that's a team that just can't fully get its act together, has trouble separating from poor teams, gets into dogfights with teams that have less talent on their roster, and can get blown out from time to time. So I think if we're real about what we've seen, basically since the middle of last year, we can say pretty fairly that this isn't a team that you should expect to be like a double-digit favorite against anybody.
All right, let me throw this at you because your colleague Dan Orlovsky said that this is the worst prepared team in the league. Now, if I break that down, I go, well, that goes directly to a head coach, but it also might go to an offensive coordinator, and then it also might go into the quarterback problem because apparently the quarterback skill set is not in line with what Kellen Moore does best. So the whole thing revolves, it's like a circle of barbed wire, and you can't get clear of it. So what does Orlovsky mean by they're the worst prepared team in the league?
I think when you look at their slow starts, like that can be a coaching thing. Like how is it possible that if you are a high-octane offense that you can't get going? I mean, that seems like it would fall on the coaching staff. And then operationally, they're just not smooth at all. What I found was really interesting was talking with Lane Johnson this week, Mike, and he said that when he was asked about, the constipated line, why is this offense constipated? And he said the thing that he pointed to first was the fact that they're really late in getting the snap off. So they were ranking, and like almost dead last in the league in time before snap. The negative of that is multifaceted. I mean, number one, if you're snapping the ball with 0 on the clock, the defensive line knows exactly when to get off. So there is no element of surprise. They can pin their ears back, and they can get after the quarterback. Think about the other things, if we just kind of play this out a little bit. Like, this is a team that was supposed to implement all this motion, right? Like, we saw in the summer, like, there was motion left, motion right. Kellen Moore is going to revolutionize this baby. And now they're not doing any motion. Well, think about it. If you're getting to the line of scrimmage with no time left on the clock, how are you going to run motion? Or if Jalen Hurts isn't getting you set and he's going through too many checks, how are you going to start implementing your motion? So it's like operationally, it's just not buttoned up right now. And I think that you can say some of it's okay. It's like some new coaches, new scheme, etc. But at what point do you stop saying those excuses and you're like, come on, man, like, this is a professional franchise. You got to get your act together.
Well, whose fault is that then? Like, who does that fall on primarily? We're 5 games in now, and they're still having those kind of problems.
Yeah, so I followed up on that in the locker room, and 3 things came back to me. 1, it falls on the coaching staff to get the play in quicker. 2, the players have to be more urgent to the line of scrimmage. And 3, Jalen Hurts has to be better. And by that I mean it's like it's good to a certain extent that you're analyzing the defense, you're making the appropriate checks, but at some point it comes to a point where you're allowing the defense to kind of dictate the circumstances, where you have to just do an initial read and then just go. So the answer, I wish it was a little bit simpler. Like, you can point to just one guy, but it's really like, it falls on the coaches, it falls on the quarterback, and it falls on the players. And they apparently have been, efforting to get this thing right and practice a big point of emphasis, but to this point hasn't translated.
All right, let me. This is. We'll get to Bill in a second. I know Bill has a question for you, but I want to get to. This is the quarterback this offensive coordinator has. It might not be the best quarterback for his system, but since this transition happened with this coordinator way back in the spring, who's at fault here? The coordinator who is not utilizing what the quarterback can do, or the quarterback who's not adapting to what the offensive coordinator would like to do?
I think one of the concerns coming into this whole setup was that it was basically you're taking a different offensive coordinator, you're putting him in the middle of a system that had already existed, and you're trying to meld all the pieces together. One of the problems last year with Brian Johnson, as an example, was he basically wasn't running his own offense, and he got stuck in the middle and ultimately sort of lost his identity. When it comes to Moore, I mean, he's sort of in the same circumstance. Now, the Eagles have given him certainly more responsibility and authority over the operation. But at the end of the day, like your head coach, which is your boss, it's still like the offensive guy, and is going to have, some sway over it. And the quarterback's going to have his own opinions on the way he thinks it should go. And so you got to meld it all together. And Mike, it takes time to meld it all together.
That's Bill's point. This is good for playing right into Bill's hands.
Yeah, but so here's where the flawed thinking comes in. It was always going to take time for it to come together, because when you switch coordinators, like I've seen it time and time again, sometimes it can take a full year until the operation looks clean, offensive or defensive side of the ball. Here's the issue. The Eagles had to get off to a fast start because they're coming off of a collapse, and the world was going to start crashing down on them if they got off to a bumpy start. Well, guess what happened? The operation's been a mess. They got off to a slower start than their talent suggests, and the world in Philadelphia is crashing around on, and it's even happening nationally now. You understand? Like, it may have just been a flawed premise.
No, you're right. You're right about it. So let's go to Bill, because Bill has been tooting his horn. It's taking time. Go ahead, Bill.
Yes, I'm with you, Tim. It is going to take some time, and my concern is that fans are growing impatient, and I don't know if you're going to see that offense come into firing on all cylinders this week, because now you have no Jordan Mailata at left tackle, no Dallas Goedert, and you're going up against the Giants defense that's not bad. So what do you expect to see from the offense this week?
Right. Well, so number one, the Jordan Mailata thing is significant because Brian Burns has been lining up a decent amount over that side of the ball, and Fred Johnson's going to be your left tackle. You can't have Brian Burns wreck this game. You just can't. So they're going to have to find ways, like if Johnson, you have to indicate early, if Johnson is not holding his own, get the guys some help pretty quickly. Clearly, one of the ways to alleviate that issue is to run the football, and you got to feature Saquon Barkley in this game, don't you? You absolutely that given those circumstances, how talented he is, what it ultimately means to him, no matter what he says during the course of the week, that he's going to have extra lightning in his feet. You got to give him the ball. And so I think they will. But yeah, to your point, like this Giants defense is pretty good. They're actually number 1 in sacks in the NFL. So it's not a joke of a defense by any stretch of the imagination. They're a little bit vulnerable in the back end. I think that you can take advantage in certain spots, use your wide receivers to exploit some matchups, but make it Barkley focused. That should alleviate a number of problems.
Yeah, they do give up almost 5 yards to running back, so that would be the plan. And so I hope they stick. There's a lot of people under the pressure. They don't give the ball to Barkley enough. Well, he carried 18 times last week, and they really didn't do anything with it. So we'll see what happens this week. All right, so Timmy, are you do you like the Eagles to win this game? The line would indicate that maybe they're, it's a short line.
Yeah, I'm going to pick the Eagles in a close one. I do feel like this defense is almost due. Like if you look at Quinion Mitchell, just focus on him and the amount of interceptions that he should have. He's not getting collided into by C.J. Gardner-Johnson, or he can just hold on when he's closing in. Like he's due to get a bunch of picks in bunches. That those two takeaways. That's not going to last all season, and I feel like this is an opportunity against Daniel Jones, who can be giving in spots. They are also without their left tackle, and so you would think you'd be able to get some blindside pressure going on there. I'm not expecting the offense to suddenly be resurgent and be everything we thought it could be. Not quite yet, but I do feel like the defense can take advantage of this New York team. So. Yeah, like a 3-point win, maybe, Mike. I think would probably be right around where I'm looking.
Yeah, I hear you. I think it's going to be close too. I think it's going to be won by a field goal. So we'll see what happens. Bill, anything else now?
Yeah, one last thing, because you didn't mention, you talked about Brian Burns. That Dexter Lawrence at D tackle, this may be the biggest test for Cam Jurgens as the new center here.
He might be the best defensive player in the NFL right now, so shame on me for not highlighting that. But it's hard to think Fred Johnson's versus Brian Burns. But yes, I mean, you're talking about Cam Jurgens and the interior going up against a nose tackle that has 7 sacks. Ridiculous, man. So he has been, and he has the full attention of the entire locker room. Like as soon as you start talking about the Giants, they're like Dexter Lawrence. And so, yes, I mean, that's 2 trouble matchups that they're going to have to navigate in order to get this win.
All right. It's a double Johnson this weekend.
There you go.
Both ends. Timmy, always a pleasure, man. Thank you, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right. See you, boys.
Tim McManus.
ESPN.com.
Double Johnson.
Double Johnson.
You got Double Johnson.
Remember those T-shirts you used to be able to get on the
Johnson & Johnson?
No. There was the Johnson shirts on the Wildwood Boardwalk. They weren't the most tasteful shirts.
No, I don't remember what you're talking
You don't remember those? Ray was probably too young, and you're probably too old. It was right in my wheelhouse, my age.
Oh, what, it had a Johnson on it?
Yeah, it was like these. They were, like I said, not the most tasteful shirts, but it was like Big Johnson. That was the shirt.
Johnsons, did you read that headline of Al Pacino?
I did. I was going to send that to you. I forgot to send it to you last night. I should have known you would have read it.
The headline says Al Pacino haunted by childhood injury to his penis.
And if you're on the fence about a fence,
what?
We'll talk about it.
Back after this.
Phillies president of baseball.
I was just reading a story that was in Bleeding Green Nation. They're saying this is actually not a Kellen Moore offense, not even close. This is a Hurts offense. It is a spread gun offense with a complex running game that involves the quarterback. It wins with isolation routes and basic half-field concepts. In short, it's the same college offense the Eagles have been running for Hurts for years. So who's at fault here? Is it Sirianni? Is it Kellen Moore? Is it Hurts?
Mike and Bill have been pleading their cases.
What was the point of hiring Kellen Moore then? And if it's the quarterback, what hope do we have that they can actually have an offense that's evolving?
I've been saying for weeks that is it possible that the reason they're not running pre-snap motion is because the quarterback's not comfortable with it? Is it possible that Jalen Hurts' turnovers are part of the reason why they've come out to slow start? We can blame the game plan. We can blame the head coach. But if you really look at the numbers, Jalen Hurts has missed some people early.
The Mike Missanelli Show Holding Court is brought to you by Grunko Law, your law firm when you need help because of an injury. We treat every case like it's Dallas Week. Pray for peace, prepare for trial. Now back to Mike Missanelli on 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
All right, it's the Mike Missanelli Show. It's a Football Friday. You just heard some of our arguments there. As the Eagles now with the New York Giants on Sunday, a game that's going to be close. And I don't know if there's going to be rave reviews of the Eagles, even if they win. So we have to ride this out, man. I don't know where this season's going. It doesn't feel really good right now, even though they're 3-2 and they're still very much in the mix and they have some winnable games coming up. Well, this is a day-by-day, Sunday-by-Sunday proposition.
It is, but I'm going to tell Eagles fans right now, if the Eagles get out of there on Sunday with a win, you should feel good. You really should. You should feel good whether they put up 20 points, 30 points. If they put up 30 points, you should lose your mind in excitement. But even if they only score 20 points and they squeak by this Giants team, it would be a good win in my opinion because the Giants are not as bad as people are saying. They're not the same Giants of old. Same offense of old, but a very good defense.
All right, let's go to the text board. We've ignored the text board for most of this Football Friday. What are the folks saying? You know, because we have two different impressions here. Bill and I have two different impressions. Ray's more on my side with this whole thing. But what are the people saying, Ray?
Matt from Ontario, Philly sports fans are smart. There's no buzz for the Eagles game because fans know the coaching is weak. They seem unorganized and unable to get this team on the right track. Even if the players are playing well, I fear that the coaches will make some stupid decision like we've been seeing every week.
All right. Well, hey, there you go. That's like that's the first volley.
When we look at the stupid decisions, the only game that I left saying that I was furious with the coach's decisions was the Saints game, and they ended up winning in spite of the Nick Sirianni decisions. Outside of that, I was okay with the 3rd-and-1 pass to Saquon Barkley against Atlanta. I was okay last week against Cleveland trying to score a touchdown at the end of the half instead of just settling for a field goal like a lot of people wanted to see them do earlier. You know, we pick up the first down, slow things down. I was okay with the aggressiveness, but everything's directed at the coach. I get it. I mean, it is. It's just people are so blinded by their hate.
You just hate that. It just rankles you that everything is directed at the coach when you know that's a commonplace in Philadelphia.
Is it possible it's more than just the head coach? Like in terms of the coaching, like we can also blame the rest of the, like you keep doing this like a whole victim thing that like, oh, here I am standing on the hill of Sirianni. It's like we could be upset with Kellen Moore. We could be upset. People were upset when they needed to be about Fangio's defensive scheme. People should be upset with the fact that special teams makes a catastrophic mistake weekly, it seems like right now. I don't think it, like you're standing up here like, oh, it's just Sirianni taking it. Yeah, he's taking it because he's the CEO. He's the head coach at the top of it. But there's enough to be upset about with all the coaches right now.
Maybe I got to stop reading the YouTube chat as well. But it's just the comments on Instagram because Dylan does a great job. And Brandon, they clip things, they post them to Instagram. Everything is just about the coach.
But this is the way people feel. Like what? You can't like get yourself into people's feelings and be offended by this is genuinely what people are feeling about it.
It's the buzzwords like the pre-snap motion. They're not running it because of Sirianni. under center. Got to get under center. Not doing it because of Sirianni. It's like, how do you know that it's Nick Sirianni who's going there saying, don't do this?
Well, how do you not
Don't
know?
do that.
How do you not know? This is what people do when we're talking about the subject of sports in Philadelphia. They speculate. But you're getting offended by their speculation.
What I'm getting offended by, and look, I've criticized this team, and I think there are plenty of things to criticize them. But what's offending me is the overreactions to a 3-2 football team with everything that they had to deal with the change in coaching staff, the change in personnel, the travel schedule they had the first 5 weeks, the fact that they've had injuries. You didn't have AJ for 3 games, Devontae, Lane. There's so many factors at play, but yet everyone wants to just fire the head coach.
I get it, but you seem to have this psychological bonding with Nick Sirianni. It's really an interesting phenomenon to me.
Psychological.
Really, right. Like he has a psychological bonding with like his first inclination is to defend Sirianni. Now, maybe he does need a defense, maybe he doesn't. This is what people feel about him. And like you get offended by what other people are feeling about him, even though they have their own reasons why they feel that way.
And they would not be wrong for being upset with Sirianni against the Browns after the game. I was also. You can't act like that as an NFL head coach. But I think what we're going to see, because I said this when we reacted to it on Monday, we may not like it. The national media may not like it. Hell, Jeffrey Lurie, Howie Roseman may not like it. The fans don't like it. If the players don't have a problem with it and they rally behind their head coach over the next few weeks, that'll tell us a lot about their relationship.
They're going to rally behind him. I get it. Bully, Newt Rockney. But here's the bottom line. He doesn't have like solid footing to stand on right now. He is coming off a collapse from last year. And this year, with the stuff that's going on, it's like, how in the world are you, as a fan, are you supposed to have inherent trust in the guy?
That I can understand.
Well, I don't think you do.
You can't have inherent trust.
You seem to be offended by it.
No, there's a difference between saying, hey, I don't trust this guy, and I'm going to overreact. He needs to be fired immediately when they're 3-2 and there's been a lot of good.
Before we get out of here on this one, I was scanning the text line. I felt like this was important.
Yeah.
I don't think this has happened yet on our program, but I want to make sure that I identify this is the first time I've seen it. We have our first call for Tanner McKee. So that took 5 weeks.
That's stupid.
It's stupid, but I want to make sure that we document it. It took us 5 weeks.
Not even Kenny Pickett.
Now that is stupid.
Not even Kenny Pickett.
That I disregard. But the legitimate feelings about how they feel about the coach is legit because he's not on solid footing. 610-632-0975 back after this. The Fanatic. Let me just adjust this Al Pacino thing that I brought up. Because the headline startled me. And I go, what the hell is this? Al Pacino haunted by childhood injury to his penis. And, oh, my God, that sounds terrible.
I thought the same thing. As soon as I saw it, I had to click on it.
As it turned out, he banged his genital area on a bar or something that he was trying to climb.
I think he was climbing a fence, wasn't he?
A fence.
And it was slippery because it was raining.
And so there was damage to the appendage. And so, and he was telling the story about how he was embarrassed that all the people had to look at it, his parents and the nurses and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think he said he goes back to his house and they had to lay him down. His mom's there, his aunt, the doctor, everyone's looking at it. Yeah.
And yet he recovered enough to apparently father a child at age 85.
Well, maybe it took him 80 years to feel comfortable enough.
You see, Al, I hate to break it to you, but I might check the paternity on that. I gotta be honest with you, because in my world there might be some mystery spermazoa involved here. You know what I'm saying?
84,
85. Come on, man. Seriously, your boys ain't swimming at 85.
You don't think?
No. I would check into that. But if you check into it, then you mistrust your spouse, right? It's kind of a no-win situation. But come on. Seriously, you buying that, Bill?
Oh, we'll see. When the baby's born, I guess. Maybe it comes out looking like it.
The baby is born.
Oh, it was?
Yeah. He's got a kid.
Oh, I thought she just got. So how old was he when she got pregnant?
85.
Well, no, he's 84 now.
Oh, okay. He was 84. He just had the kid.
Oh, the baby was just born.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
You checking into it?
No. Like an idiot, I just Googled because I wanted to pull up the article, Al Pacino penis. And then I realized what I just Googled. But the article did come up.
Please, I'm begging you.
I'm like, what did I just Google?
A little
it's
bit of
a startling headline.
My wife's going to look at my search history. She's going to be like, what's going on?
Al Pacino haunted.
Your wife, you're
childhood
over here
injury.
on work Wi-Fi. Why are you worried about your wife?
Yeah, if Beasley's listening, we're talking about an article that was written in every newspaper.
When you read the headline, you go, "What? What did he grow an eel or something? Like what happened?"
It's just here's the problem. You and I have been working together for a couple months now, and I'm starting to think like you because I saw this article and I go, "I bet you Mike."
How could you not?
I bet you Mike's going to bring this up tomorrow.
You see a headline that says Al Pacino haunted by childhood injury. It was like, what are you supposed to think? You're not going to read that story?
I read it right away.
Of course you did.
Hold on. Dinner can wait. I got to finish this article.
Let's go back to the phones. Justin in New York. Justin, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Justin.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call.
What's up, Justin?
Nothing much. So yeah, I live in New York now. I've been living here for like 5 years, and I go to the Giants, Eagles, or Jets, Eagles every year, and I get to one at the Link. So I'll be going Sunday, and I feel like they should win the game, but I'd be lying if I was overly optimistic because I don't know. I feel like it hasn't been mentioned much. Maybe I pay attention because I've been there every year, but I feel like MetLife Stadium has been like a kryptonite to Jalen Hurts. If even back in 2021, that was the worst game of his season, and we still had a shot to win. Jalen Reagor dropped that pass. You might remember that.
Yeah.
And then Super Bowl year, we drilled everybody that year, so he played well. But last year, that Jets game, he threw that pick to lose the game, and I just feel like something about that stadium, he has not played well there. And yeah, I'd feel a lot better also if Malik Neighbors wasn't coming back this week because, that kid is a special talent.
Yeah.
I'm wondering
how listen, their cornerbacks have been pretty. I don't know if Slay's going to play in this game, but it's pretty interesting to see Quinyon Mitchell against Neighbors. That's going to be fascinating. By the way, I gotta say, I thought Quinyon Mitchell was a little bit out of line the way he acted after that missing that interception.
Yeah, when he was so mad at Chauncey Gardner-Johnson.
Come on, man, you got to be a pro in that. What you do is you get double high five. Oh man, we almost had that. Yeah, I know we ran into each other. He got downright angry at the guy.
He did. And if you watch the replay, CJ doesn't really know Quinyon's going out. He's got to try to make the play.
Going for the ball.
Yeah, I was with you. He did overreact a little bit. Similar to how fans are overreacting to the first 5 games of the season.
A little bit of immaturity maybe crept in there, Justin. So, okay, so they should win Sunday. You're not confident. So they win. They say they win by 2 points on a field goal late. What's your reaction?
I don't care how this is a division. The Giants are a desperate team on the road. This is not the type of game. Last week I wanted style points, but this is the type of game. Even like the line tells you everything. They're a 3-point favorite, so I'll be happy with a win.
Okay.
This week.
All right. That'll be the test for Eagle fans. They go in there and they win, although they don't cover. Like they did against Cleveland last week. I'm not sure what the reaction is going to be, but I guess you focus on the win. It's the win division game. I know it's a division game. It's supposed to be tougher the whole bit. I think the Giants stink. I think they should actually cover, and I would not be that happy with them just skating by.
No, this is going to go three ways. One, the Eagles lose, and fans will hit a fever pitch with regard to wanting the head coach fired. Eagles win close, and it's how could you not dominate the Giants? Eagles dominate, and it's only the Giants. I don't think fans are going to feel better on Monday regardless of what happens. And that's why I've been spending the whole show trying to tell people, if the Eagles win this game, you should feel happy.
If you're Fangio, how do you play this game? Because you've seen, one thing Daniel Jones can do is break out of there and burn you. And their linebackers, I don't know if they catch up to that situation.
I'm not as worried about that. Look, I have not felt good about this defense through the first couple of weeks. But last week against Cleveland, I know it was Cleveland, you started to feel good because you saw, one, Quinyon Mitchell's a stud. You saw Cooper DeJean play, I think, over 90% of the snaps last week. He adds a level of athleticism to that team now. You saw Nolan Smith make some plays. I still have questions about Nakobe Dean at linebacker, but I think there's enough athleticism on that defense that I'm not worried about Daniel Jones. Yeah, could Malik Neighbors beat you here or there? Sure, it's possible. He's a good receiver, but I just don't think they have the firepower. They don't have a good running game. They lost Saquon, which was a big loss.
Tyrone Tracy.
Yeah, the rookie, right?
Yep, look out.
He did have one good game.
And they use him in the passing game also.
I don't think they have the firepower to score a lot of points. So
yes, we haven't brought this up. The lack of Goddard in this game.
It's a big loss. It is. It's a big loss.
Calcaterra had 4 catches last week and 4 targets, so he was fine.
I'm less concerned about what Goddard means in the passing game because I think Calcaterra could be serviceable. My concerns are with regard to your running game. When you lose a Dallas Goedert and you're forced to what? I guess Jack Stoll. Now, they did. I think Albert O could potentially be elevated for this game. I'm not sure what's going on. They brought him back. I think they opened up his practice window. I'm not sure if he's available. But that's where I get concerned, is the tight end is an extension of your offensive line in the running game, and Calcaterra does not block as well as Goddard does in the running game. That's where it could be an issue.
Number 1 sack team in the NFL. How concerned are you about that, the Giants up against the Eagles?
Very concerned.
With that left tackle situation.
So you got the left tackle situation. Brian Burns against Fred Johnson, most likely. Now, there's an option where you could move Mekhi Becton to left tackle, go with Tyler Steen at right guard. I don't think they'll do that. I was talking to Andrew DeCecco before our show today, and I agree with him. Stoutland would much rather only have to replace one position, not move the entire line around. So you probably got Fred Johnson against Burns, but that's...
By the way, Becton better play well after he assaulted MetLife Stadium.
He said he doesn't want to play in that bleeping stadium.
He did. He said it's trash.
He did. Well, he played there as a Jet.
Yes,
so that's why he doesn't like it.
Can you blame him?
No, I can't. But I'll tell you, the matchup I'm really concerned about. Yeah, Brian Burns versus Fred Johnson, and we talked to Tim McManus briefly about it, is Dexter Lawrence lined up over Cam Jurgens at center. Because Dexter Lawrence is a beast. You heard McManus say he may be the best defensive player in the league. If he generates interior pressure, there's not much anybody on that offense is going to be able to do. So Jurgens, Dickerson, and Mekhi Becton are going to have to make sure they take care of Dexter Lawrence in the middle of that defense. To me, that may be the key to the game right there. Neutralizing Dexter Lawrence. Don't let him wreck this game. And then secondary would be Brian Burns.
All right. Give me some golden plays that you see in this game. Give me some plays that are really going to hit and lift the Eagles to a higher plateau against the Giants in this game. What has to be done? What does Hurts have to do? What do the wide receivers have to do? What does Saquon Barkley have to do?
Jalen Hurts, it's simple. Don't turn the ball over. I mean, it sounds as obvious as could be, but if he doesn't turn the ball over, they will win this football game. That is the key to every game for me the rest of the season. Jalen Hurts, protect the football, and you'll see this team win a lot more games than they lose. As far as the wide receivers go, A.J. Brown just be A.J. Brown. We've seen this guy make these contested catches. He's unbelievable, especially on those deep routes. But I want to see them do more of the A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, those mesh concepts that we've seen work so well, where they're running those drag routes across the field and defenders are getting picked apart. If Jalen can identify man coverage and change the play into those plays to take advantage of man coverage, I think you'll see some of those big plays. You also saw Calcaterra have that big play on a similar where they had a little play action rolling out. And Saquon, I mean, just do more of the same. Yeah, he wasn't successful against the Cleveland Browns running the football, but he's been very successful. They're still top 6 in the NFL in terms of rushing yards per game. Offense, just protect the ball, man. Protect the ball. There's enough talent. They should be able to score points, and then the defense should shut down Daniel Jones. Low scoring. I guess I can give my prediction now. I'm going with a very similar score to the Cleveland Browns game. I'm going 21-16 Eagles. So they will cover, but it will be a little ugly. It'll be a little close. The defense will do its job against the Giants' offense, and the Eagles' offense will do just enough to win the game.
All right. By the way, I would like to see Saquon be involved more in the passing game. I would like to see them get him in space on some wheel routes and such. They kind of stayed away from that. I hope they would do that. And I also would like to see them get the ball Jahan Dotson in space with those little plays that are unrisky and let him run. Those are two things I would want to see as innovations. And I want to see Jalen Hurts run the football. I'm sorry. You're going to be in the shotgun the whole time. I want you to see some gaps and burn them with runs because I think that really hurts the defense when they play good defense for a couple of downs and then boom, he gets a 3rd and 8 by running. I like those kind of plays.
Demoralizing, man. When your defense is able to take everything away and it's a 3rd and long and then the quarterback breaks off a long run for a first down, yeah, it's demoralizing to a defense. And I've gone over these numbers with you before. When Jalen runs the ball, this team wins. I mean, their record when he has more than 10 carries is extremely, extremely good. Now, I don't know if he'll carry it that much, but he may be running for his life, too, on Sunday with the way this Giants defense gets after the quarterback.
All right, my prediction is I think the Giants are actually going to cover. I don't know how because I can't come up with a score. Like, if I go 23-21, that's me giving the Giants 3 touchdowns, and I'm loath to do that. So... and 22 is a weird number to arrive to. So, I can't figure out what the number is, but I think it's going to be like a 1-point game with the Eagles surviving but not covering.
Yeah, you may not be wrong. That's why I have them at 16 points, the Giants. Getting in the end zone once, 3 field goals.
Probably right. Like but then I go, okay, well, I can't pick 18-16. You know, I can't pick 15 because that means the Giants kick 5 field goals. You know, I'm weird. The score is weirding me out here. So, all right, I'll go 23-21, and that gives the Giants 3 touchdowns, 1 being a defensive touchdown because I don't think they can score 3 touchdowns with their offense.
They can't. No turnovers this week.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for closing arguments.
Now, closing arguments on the Mike Missanelli Show. Brought to you by Lowenthal and Abrams Injury Attorneys. Injured in an accident, call 800-876-LAWYER or visit LowenthalAbrams.com.
All right, I know how Bill feels. Bill feels things are going to be hunky-dory with more time. I'm not so sure how I'm supposed to feel about the Philadelphia Eagles. And here's my problem. There's a definite drag on this fan base because they don't know what to expect either. And I'm looking at the big picture here. Dan Orlovsky says this is the worst prepared team in the NFL. That stuns me because that goes right to the head coach box, and that's Nick Sirianni. So, but even if you don't want to blame Nick Sirianni, you go, they hired an offensive coordinator to do different things with this offense, and they're really not doing different things. Why aren't they doing different things? Because the offensive coordinator's skill set is not in line with what the quarterback's skill set is. So I go, okay, well, you probably should have recognized that a little earlier when you were in minicamp and then tailor an offense that accentuates Jalen Hurts instead of just slogging along and teasing us with a little pre-snap motion and doing that. I just don't think they're directed, which goes back to Orlovsky's opinion that they're the worst prepared team in the NFL. I kind of agree. They don't look like a prepared team, even though they're 3-2. And even if they win this game, they're going to be 4-2, and maybe they get to 5-2, or at the very least 6-3 at the end of this run. I still don't know what this team is, and it bothers me because by now I should know. So I go into this game with a little bit of a state of flux. I'm wide open with my eyes, and I just have to study what's going to happen and then formulate from there. Bill?
Patience, 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 Michael. So I'll see you when we get there. I will see you when this team gets there because they are evolving this offense where Kellen Moore is figuring out Jalen Hurts' strengths. I know you wanted it immediately. Fans wanted it immediately. These things take time. Kellen Moore had Dak Prescott and Justin Herbert in his career, and now he has a quarterback that has a different skill set. They're getting there, and there's been a lot of things to like. I know we want to see improvements, but there have been a lot of things to like, and if they can continue to ascend, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. Be patient, Michael. Be patient.
All righty. That's going to be doing it for Football Friday. Everybody have a great weekend, and we'll be paying attention to every snap of your Philadelphia Eagles and New York Giants. And Monday, we'll have our opinions, pro or con, or maybe in the middle, which is where we are right now. Thanks for listening, everybody. Tell your friends and neighbors about the Mike Missanelli Show. We'll talk to you Monday.